Jeez Louise, man.
Big Orange fans, you played every snap. You showed your orange. But you're just getting started because it's time for the best post-game fan show in college football. It's time for the Garza Law Firm 5th Quarter Fan Reaction. The place where the Big Orange universe from all around the world gathers to talk about today's game. Unfiltered, uncensored, and unapologetic. And did we mention commercial-free? A show of you, by you, and yep, for you.
Yes! Yes!
The most unique fan experience in sports. And it happens right now.
Tony Basilio and you as we're live on your Garza Law 5th Quarter Fan Reaction. Welcome in. Tennessee loses 33-27 to an Oklahoma team that goes on the road and gets their first win against a ranked team in 6 football seasons. They're not hard, they're not easy to get. Tennessee tonight made it easier than it should have and could have been. That's an Oklahoma team that's very challenged, obviously, on offense. Mateer's extremely challenged. And Oklahoma just whipped Tennessee up front tonight. They just smashed them into the ground. And they had our quarterback, with what they were doing with their safeties, completely confused all night long. Completely confused all night long. And the Vols fall tonight, 33-27. It's Garza Law, 5th Quarter Fan Reaction, and we're with you on a night where the clock falls back. Did the Vols fall back? Did the Vols fall back? After a season last year in the playoffs, they feel mathematically eliminated, although there is no math in this, because God knows what the standings are and what we're looking at, but they feel eliminated from a playoff berth here. This game had the feel of a playoff elimination game coming in, and you hate to see your team lose in that manner and just get whipped up front. I know a lot of people are going to point fingers at Joey Aguilar, who showed a lot of toughness tonight, a lot of grit, a lot of guts, and made some passes and some plays you can't make in tonight's game. And so the Vols fall to an Oklahoma team that walks out of Neyland Stadium with some life. For how long, I have no idea, but they've got some postseason life. Tennessee now gets a week off, and then it's a trip to Florida, and then closing the season with Vanderbilt at home. In the meantime, our Machi tailgate for the kids with New Mexico State as well is going to occur, so still a lot of football left to be played. And that could be either good news or bad news, depending on your perspective. But we're going to go ahead and go to the phones without further ado. If you want to get in the hunt and in the mix with us tonight, the number is 865-200-5402. On a night where the Vol fans showed up, showed out, showed their orange, came hard on a dark mode night, but it just, at the end of the day, that's a game that just was not happening. Just not happening. 865-200-5402. And we'll go ahead and go to our phones without further ado. If you want to get in the hunt and in the mix with us, we're going to open up our TLD Logistics phone line here on Garza Law. 5th Quarter Fan Reaction presented by Marcos Garza and your Garza Law Firm. Online at garzalaw.com. Whether it's DUI defense, criminal defense, personal injury, Social Security, disability, and even myriad of disciplines of the law, they've got you covered at garzalaw.com, available 24/7 for you. All right, let's go to the phones. Without further ado, this show is about you. It's about your reaction, whether that's in victory or in defeat tonight. To be honest with you, I'm a little stunned that Tennessee looked the way they did tonight, but that was a master class a masterclass tonight from Brent Venables, who's not a complete head coach by any stretch of the imagination. Them throwing the ball with about 3 minutes left and keeping Tennessee in that game with that really odd, bizarre quarterback they have, that was a bizarre decision. All he has to do is run the ball there. These guys are making millions and millions of dollars. And Heupel tonight, the game management stuff, the little things, I mean, come on, son. You have got to take that penalty before the half. Heupel knows this guy is a howitzer. This kicker from Oklahoma looks like a reject from the Dukes of Hazzard out there in his Daisy Dukes. I mean, is there no rule against that? Is the guy going to wear, like, cutoffs next week? I mean, what are we doing here? Anyway, let's go to the phones. As, ladies and gentlemen, the Dodgers and the Blue Jays are playing a World Series for the ages. It's going to extra innings in the 7th inning. And if you're near a television, that's what I'm looking at here. Usually we're looking at college football in here because we celebrate college football. But KK Hernandez and Pages just collided in left center field. This game tonight has been absolutely insane. But that's not what you're here for. You're here because our Volunteers fell tonight to Oklahoma by a final count of 33-27. Hello and welcome in. You are on our Garza Law 5th Quarter Fan Reaction. Hi.
Hey, Tony. Jake from Memphis. How you doing,
Hey,
man?
Jake. Welcome in. Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you, buddy. I'm probably going to take a bit of a different perspective. I don't know if it's this. Maybe it's just the World Series just being so epic, and this loss just didn't hurt me as it normally does. Actually, I know probably what it is, Tony. I watched that Georgia-Florida game today.
Yep.
And I pretty much came to the conclusion that there's no way we are going down to the swamp and winning that game against that team. Ain't no way. So I kind of was already just came to the conclusion we're already not going to the playoffs. And so just going into the game with that kind of mindset, and again, also this amazing World Series, I don't know, man. I kind of, on one hand, feel terrible for Max Gilbert because can you imagine him sitting on the bench watching that other kicker just have the game of his life?
No.
And Max is just poor guy. Looks like he's a deer in the headlights every time you see him on the camera. Like I don't know, man. He's pretty rough, but I think Aguilar and Heupel are a really good marriage because Aguilar has some really great throws.
Yep.
He really does.
Yep.
And then he has some pretty terrible ones. But they're mostly great. But he's got some terrible ones. And then Heupel calls some pretty awesome plays. And then he has some terrible ones. But they're mostly great. But tonight, man, Heupel, this was a really rough night for Heupel. I mean, yeah, Aguilar threw some terrible throws. But there was just so many things where I'm going, I don't understand what you're doing right here. Like, running 4 straight plays after a turnover was mind-blowing to me. And and then the burning a timeout on a 4th and 1, when you just run the ball and get the first down, you need that timeout. You know you're going to need that timeout. And then you don't even run the ball after the timeout. You throw it to a guy that you've never thrown to the whole season.
That was really strange, man. Really strange.
It was just a very weird, bad game from Heupel. Very bad game. I mean, and it's so frustrating because you finally got a really good game from your defense for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, but
you're
like
playing an offense, Jake, and I appreciate your call. Thank you. I'm going to get some people in here, but it's good hearing from you. And you're right. The World Series is crazy great. And Tennessee's game tonight's not. You make a good point, though, about Heupel and being pretty good and Aguilar being pretty good. You're playing a defense tonight that is among the best in the nation. And they're among the best in the nation for a reason because they have some of the best players. Now, they were missing their 2 best players tonight. After one of them took a a ball to the house on a turnover for a touchdown, but we didn't see him again on the field, which means they were without their two best defenders. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. That Oklahoma team means business on defense. And this Sandell guy he's gotten a lot of practice this year, but he missed a kick in their first game earlier in the year. And he has been Deshae Monet ever since. I mean, he's hitting everything. Tonight he got down. I don't know if we've ever seen a display like this in Neyland Stadium. The first kick he made was a 55-yarder because we did not take a holding call, which makes no sense in college football today. I was talking about this in our Twitter space at halftime. These guys today, when you get a good one on the other sideline, now look, if you're playing Tennessee and Max Gilbert, I'd let him kick a 55-yarder. No offense to him. But a lot of these kids today can hammer it. And the guys at the NFL level are kicking them 60-plus, 63, 65. They're just hammering the ball. This guy tonight, this Sandell guy, made a 55-yarder, a 51-yarder, a 40-yarder, a 55-yarder. I mean, have we ever seen anything like that in our stadium? He was pounding the ball through the uprights. You have got to accept the penalty there. Heupel's had one of these years where he's just a tick off. He's just been kind of a tick off this year with the headset. And essentially what Oklahoma did, and I checked in with a couple of my coaching buddies, and they say Oklahoma did to Tennessee exactly what they did to him last year with Nico. Same exact thing. Before the snap, we're going to get to the line, and we're going to confuse that quarterback with our safeties. And if he doesn't read and recognize what we're doing, we're going to have the time of our lives with him. And that's pretty much what they did tonight. And they had Joey off balance, even though the numbers are pretty good. I mean, Tennessee finishes for the game 456 yards, 393 passing. A lot of empty calories in those stats, though. So we go back to our phones. And as the ball's being snapped, they bring pressure. They're playing some man free. They were mixing in different zones with their pressure. I mean, as good as that guy from Oklahoma is on that side of the ball, his offense is wretched and unwatchable. So if you're a Sooner fan, congratulations. You guys are going to live for what, like another week? Because your team ain't going to the playoffs. I can promise you that. Because your offense blows. As we go back to the phones, hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, guys, Dave.
Hey, Dave, welcome in.
Well, we come full circle. We started off his first year 7-5. Probably a good chance this team in fifth year is going to be 7-5. Actually, he was that 7-5 team 5 years ago. First year, it's probably as good as this team. So these are all his players. He's an undisciplined coach. He would be a fantastic offensive coordinator somewhere, but he is not a head football coach. He is not, and it'll be. I'll be proven right. I've been exactly where I am right now for a while now, because I've seen it. The penalties, just the sloppiness. It's over and over and over again, and it's not going to be any different. Now, this is not a good year to fire your coach, so you bring him back, and I'd say probably midway through next year, everybody else will have a gut full of him, because that schedule next year is going to be brutal, because he's not going to win many games on the road. And it's just the way it is, Tony. Y'all can say, oh, he went to the playoffs last year, now he got blown out in the first round. So I've been here with
Dave,
him.
If that makes you feel better to yell and scream out tonight.
I feel great because I'm done with him. I'm done because he's not a good coach. He's a good offensive coordinator. That's it. And he's not. And his offense let him down tonight. But y'all have a good night.
Thank you, Dave. 865-200-5402. We're off to a rip-roaring start here on Garza Law fifth quarter fan reaction. My entire cast and crew is at the game. They'll be joining us as the night unfolds, and we'll be on here for several hours with the clock going back The question is, the clock fell back tonight to Tennessee. I happen to be somebody who knows that in this era, you can't go back 5 years. In this thing, you're only as good as your last couple of years, because you're in a sport now that's ever-changing. But let's go back to our phones without further ado and get our next call in here on Garza Law, fifth quarter fan reaction. Hi, you're on the air. Hi, you're on the air.
Tony.
Yeah, welcome in.
Hey, it's JJ from the Mid-State.
Hey, JJ, welcome in, buddy.
Hey, I just want to, I got a few points, but
yeah,
you can't honestly take this loss and put it on Heupel's decision to not accept that penalty when we had fucking 3rd and 16 and all damn year and all my life we cannot get off the field in 3rd and long.
Yep.
So what the hell? Why give them an extra down to just run 15 yards and do a
because that guy
curl route
can't play.
Get another first down? 3rd and 16, we had a chance to get them off the field. We let that soup can quarterback run 20 yards for a first down.
Yes, he's a soup can. You're right. That was incredible. That play was utterly insane.
Well, that's part of the course, Tony. This is the shit we have to deal with, and we have to explain it away. And we've been, and all of our fans are smart enough to know we watch this damn shit. We know what is successful and what is stupid. And I don't care the personnel. You got guys that can all run a 4.40. They're all athletic. And if you're playing chess, you put your pieces in position to win. And our guys that are making $4 or $5 million act like they're spending 80 hours a week, like it's fucking splitting an atom. And this is the shit we get. And the stats bear it out that we were better than them. Why in the world near the end of the first half are we throwing a damn 30-yard fucking pass in the double coverage? And I understand that the players make mistakes. Why are you putting them in a position to throw a pass 30 yards in a double coverage near the end of the first half? That just completely, and we abandoned the run. I don't care what the stats are on the run. We just completely abandoned it. But I just don't get it, Tony. That was just the most mind-blowing, numbskull. What am I watching? Why am I not just going to the interstate and just sitting there with a lawn chair and just watching traffic? I mean, this was inexcusable. And was this the first road win that Oklahoma had in 6 years?
First
against a ranked team.
Against a ranked team. That's correct. Yeah.
Some of this is just our law. And again, I called last week or 2 weeks ago. I don't know. And yeah, is Heupel better than? I'm not, trying to fire, but it's like Jeremy Pruitt was a complete dipshit, and so was Derek Dooley, and so was Butch Jones. They're complete dipshits, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are they not? But like Heupel, okay, he is an interim piece, and I know the NIL and everything, the whole landscape has changed, but I'm watching this as a fan, and it's just like I might as well just be cutting myself. I might as well put sackcloth on and ashes.
JJ, thank you. I appreciate you, buddy. I got to get through a bunch of people here. Everybody understand. We only got 3 to play. And JJ, I love you. Thank you. I'll let you roll, brother. But we get down to the sackcloth and the ashes, At some point, love your show. And also, shout out to my friends at Waterside Contracting. Listen, when you're ready to buy some land, Waterside Contracting, they got your ticket. 25 years of making dreams come true. Hundreds of people in our area, custom homes or remodels. build on your lot. They do incredible work all over the area. Structural integrity, quality without compromise, a way of life with Waterside Contracting. You can check out their wonderful work. See our blog over at tclub.team. Obviously, the basketball teams, and we'll have a lot to say about this game on Monday as we digest it. Basketball teams in action Monday night. You can check out our free blog every day over at tclub.team. We'd love to have you. And just an amazing baseball game going on right now. WatersideContractingLLC.com is their website again. WatersideContractingLLC.com. When it's time for your dreams to come true over at Waterside Contracting. And Tennessee tonight, as beautiful as this World Series has been, that football game was really ugly tonight that we witnessed from both teams. Both teams. I think it's indicative of what the SEC is right now. Which I look at the SEC, I watched Georgia play today. And they're like going to cruise the playoffs somehow. And they're just a team. We let them up. They're just a team. We're kind of just a team, if we're honest about it. I mean, I asked a question on Tuesday of this week on our daily show. What's more likely to happen? 10-2 make the playoffs or 8-4? And there was kind of a split decision there. My inclination coming into tonight was 8-4 was more likely to happen than 10-2 because we're just incomplete. I never dreamed Oklahoma was going to push us around like that in our building, and we'd be the team that would crack and make the turnovers. We took our own crowd out of the game. Can't run the ball. Totally confused the offense. I mean, Venables, and Venables has, let's just call Oklahoma what their offense, what it is. That's a high school offense they're running. If I was an Oklahoma fan, that would make me sick of my stomach watching that kind of football. But the game's still about blocking, and it's still about tackling. And guess what? It always will be. You can do all these newfangled things that we do on offense and some of these other teams do, but the principles remain the same. If you can't run the ball, people were asking me in the Twitter space at halftime, why aren't you running? Or why couldn't you run more, run better? Why were they running on first down? They were running on first down because they were getting numbers. And they should be able to run the ball there. When you have numbers, you count. And you should be able to get yardage. Not tonight. Not tonight. And they made David Sanders look like a true freshman. Which, when you step up in class, that's what happens. And they made Joey Aguilar look like a guy. That's what happens when you step up in class. Back to the phones we go. I'll be curious to rewatch this thing. But on first glance, my sense is that Oklahoma's defensive coaches pretty much won the night. The numbers necessarily don't say that, but whatever. And if you guys want to rip Heupel and everybody wants some fire, you're not going to win all your games in this league. You're just not. And you had Georgia beat. And the guy has not had a good year with the headset. No doubt, I'm not going to cover for him. But again, to JJ's point, you have got to take that penalty. I don't care if you give up 3rd and 30 all the time. You got to take that penalty, and you can't let that kid just sit there and just target practice on you and kick a field goal. You've got to take that penalty. This head coach has to get better with the headset on. He just has to. He has not had a good year with the headset on, calling games. And I'm not talking about, I don't mean calling plays. Calling plays, he's fine. I mean, not everything's going to work, and they're very good out of the jump. I mean calling games, making decisions on the spot, and cleaning the game up. Let's go back to our phones. Hi, you're on the air. Welcome in.
Tony B, it's fake Tyler Bray. I've got a special transmission from Conexial Cora.
Hey, Tony, it's Testing the Ball fan.
Conexial Cora, you're 7 years of age, right?
Yes.
I think I think there's still time for you to maybe like pick another team out to cheer for. That's like a lifetime of torture Daddy's signing you up for here.
Yeah, we'll find it.
A lifetime of sports torture.
We love the Big Orange.
But we love the Big Orange.
There you go. I love it. Connexio Core, and so do I. So we're all bound by this. Now, you're 7 years old. It's 11:58 in the Eastern Time Zone. How come you're not asleep? Do I need to call DHS on your parents?
No.
No? Okay. I love you guys. Thank you all. Connexio Core made her debut tonight. Thank you. 865-200-5402. That's a nice respite from our, other calls that we've had so far. I like hearing from Connexio Core. If you want to get in on our TLD Logistics phone lines, 865-200-5402. On a night where the World Series in 7 games has gone extra innings, that's a great sporting event right there. That's lived up to its billing. Tonight's Oklahoma game did not. And I'm proud of the Vols for hanging in there and for getting there and for doing what they've done. But let's go back to the phones. Just cannot turn the ball over the way Tennessee did in these championship games and live to tell about it. You just can't. And to be outgaining that team close to 4-1 at halftime and be trailing by 6 points was both a sad indictment of the way Tennessee played in the first half, but really an indictment on Oklahoma's offense because their offense is offensive. Thank God. It allowed us to stay around. A lot of other teams, if you do that, and this is true, if you do what we did, give up a defensive score, turned over a couple more times in your building, you will get buried by that team. We were very fortunate we didn't get hammered tonight. We go back to our phones. Hello and welcome in. You're on Garza Law, 5th Quarter Fan Reaction. Hi.
Hi, Big. How you doing, man?
Hey, welcome in.
I'm pretty sure that Heibel could lose the keys of Christianity to the devil. What's your thoughts?
I mean, we have a full moon tonight. Let's get our next call in. Garza Law, 5th Quarter Fan Reaction. Hi.
It's Eric in Hendersonville.
Hey, Eric, welcome in.
Hey, couple of stats that we managed to buck tonight. Oklahoma had forced 4 turnovers the whole season.
That's right.
Coming into today.
That's right, Eric.
So, we made their path a lot easier as a result. And they had a stat that said that Venable was 1-8 as head coach when trailing after 1 quarter.
Wow.
So
sure.
He made the adjustments. He tightened some things up, and he put the ball in number 10's hands, and they did ground and pound and the short passing game, and we would somehow leave their guys wide open on a short zone when he cannot throw the ball down the field on you. But realistically, and I don't want to sound like I'm agreeing with Dave here, but this is going to be the closest that we're going to be to a playoff for a while, just because of the schedule.
Yeah, look, and you had a
change next year.
You had a generous schedule this year, and from you think about the season now, right? You finally have a win over somebody that has an SEC win, and that's because Arkansas beat Mississippi State today. Now, Arkansas I will give them credit. I think they committed like 220 yards of penalties, but they won the game anyway because somebody had to win that game. But in retrospect, we had Georgia beat, and so does everybody else every week. But for some reason, nobody can beat them, so they just continue to win with mirrors. Tonight, in their game with Florida, the officiating was abysmal and a disgrace and an embarrassment, and it continues to be. It's like the league just wants Georgia in the playoffs. I don't know what you do or say about that. But we were a product this year to hang in this thing of our schedule. And we had a fairly easy schedule. Look, that Oklahoma team tonight, if we take care of our business and we're sharp, we should beat them, Eric. That's a very beatable team.
You're totally right, but your record is what it says that you are.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is, and I remember the segment this week on your show, 8-4, 10-2, and I was definitely thinking 8-4. We have to seriously think: is there a chance that the bottom falls out? Vanderbilt is better than us. I would not have thought so, but they don't beat themselves.
No.
And I mean, I'll bet anybody on here $100 that we're not going to beat Florida, because we always play our worst game if that's at all possible. And I just have this feeling that 7-5 is staring us in the face, and I really don't want to have to go into that type of discussion. But we have to make some staff changes. One thing that was noticeable: Oklahoma's backup players, even these, these white guys that they had, were flying around and punishing us.
Yes.
We could not run the ball on these guys.
No doubt.
Our tailbacks tonight averaged less than 3 yards a carry, and we gave it to them quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but maybe a 2 tight end, 1 back set. My final point. I know you got probably a lot of calls. What the F are we doing, just like at Alabama tonight? Key play of the game, and we are trying to do some half-ass in the flat pass to a tight end.
Didn't make any sense.
I mean, Van Dorselaer is going to be a nice player. 2 catches on the season. He's your go-to man in that situation. Come on.
Where I come from, we call that being too cute by half. And Eric, I appreciate the call. Thank you. 865-200-5402. First of all, the way they're getting upfield on you, that's a lot to expect. And the freshman had the ball hit him right in the face, and it came out quicker than they wanted it to. Now they had it drawn up, and it was going to work, or could have worked. It's pretty indicative of the way the night went. Just sort of an unforced error. And Oklahoma wins 33-27. A couple of numbers from the game. They had 192 yards rushing to your 63. And Eric's right. Every time they put a replacement in the game, placement stepped up. Now, they had a true freshman in their secondary make a mistake that a lot of these kids make, where they want to get on SportsCenter, and want to get on all the socials during the week. And he came up and he tried to blow Staley up, and Staley ran between 2 defenders. That looked like us. I look like us all year. And we got that touchdown to start the third quarter, and it felt like, here you go. We've got the lead now. We got a chance. And what happened is, and the reason I would have, again, accepted that penalty at the end of the first half, we let that quarterback grow into this game tonight. And Mateer, if you watch him at Washington State, has certain games where he just gets in rhythm. We'll go back to our phones. Hello and welcome in at 865-200-5402. Will Smith might be one of the more clutch players on the planet. He just hit a home run in the top of the 11th, a 5-4 lead now for the Dodgers. I mean, just sickening, the LA Dodgers are. They've come from a 3-run deficit in Game 7 to take a 5-4 lead here in the top of the 11th. One of the great World Series maybe ever played between these two teams. As we go back to our phones, tonight's game certainly will not hang in the Louvre of sports anytime soon. Our TLD Logistics phone lines, easy for me to say, are burning off the hook. And we're very fortunate tonight. We were very fortunate not to get blown out in the first half. Very fortunate. Can't do those things in your building. Can't. Back to the phones we go. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, Tony. John Vols calling in. How are
John,
you, man?
Welcome in, buddy.
Hey, this game is pretty frustrating because we lost to Oklahoma because, the last time we decided to kick a field goal on the 1-inch line, right? So I think a lot of the frustration is that, but I think a lot of it is just mine is the frustration with, okay, so we have to score a touchdown. We're down 9. So we do. We actually throw the ball into the end zone. And, you score. So, I mean, it's like we have to score and they start playing. And Tennessee's been like that, I think, as long as I've watched them. Is for the young people out there, it's way too long. You lose to UGA, Bama, and Oklahoma. You've got to at least win one of those. And really, you should have gone 2-1. That's what I feel the Vols should have gone. But I wonder how many Tennessee fans, Tony, are saying it's basketball time in Tennessee. I just wonder, because I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, I am. The team's going to be very, very fun this year. We're going to have a Garza Tennessee basketball overtime following Monday's season opener, and then, of course, the Vols have that tournament here in a couple weeks in Vegas, which will be a lot of fun.
That will be awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for doing the show.
Thank you, John.
After the Duke game.
Thank you, brother. You got it.
Man, y'all have a good evening. I know you got callers.
Sure.
Good talking to you.
Yeah, good talking to you, man. We're committed to it here. We're committed to the bit, so to speak. Correction. In the Loser Bowl today, Mississippi State came from 17 down and beat Arkansas. Silly me. I assume when you're winning by 17 points in an SEC football game that, you get home with a win. And I saw that they had all those penalties, and I thought they're going to win a game getting a couple 100 yards in penalties. No, they're not. So maybe the Petrino Express, maybe that was derailed. And I'm hearing Golish's name for the Arky job. We'll see what happens. But at any rate, 865-200-5402 is the number if you want to get in with us. And speaking of penalties, it's been a bugaboo with the Vols. For the most part, Tennessee was clean tonight, penalty-wise. 3 penalties, 25 yards. It was everything else that fell apart. Oklahoma, on the other hand, 11 penalties, 104 yards. The Vols had 28 first downs to their 19. The Vols converted 7 of 13 on third downs, but never solved, and I mean never solved, what they were doing with their safeties. Never. Our quarterback, who threw up some pretty good numbers, 29 of 45, 393, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. A respectable 150 percentage. To John Mateers, 19 of 29, 159. You lost to a quarterback in the modern era giving up 159 yards. And it was a 2-score game. You make it close at the end. You show some guts. It was a smart thing to kick the field goal there. It's so darn hard to get an onside kick. If you look at the Vandy game today, Vanderbilt had a perfectly executed onside kick that rolled through 3 or 4 Texas players' hands and still couldn't get the ball. So hard to come up with an onside kick when your opponent knows it's coming. Let's go back to the phones. 865. Oh, yeah, and I forgot. As somebody just said over here on YouTube, where you can watch us on our Tony Basilio YouTube channel on our Garza Law 5th Quarter Fan Reaction. And a turnover for a touchdown. Because, at the end of it all, our Mason Thomas, he kind of a man. He's sort of a man among boys. There were a couple Tennessee guys. He just took them and threw them to the ground like they were inanimate objects when he got his hands on the ball. I mean, good gosh, man. I can't believe we came apart like that in our building. Of all the things to happen to this team. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air. Hi.
Hey, Tony, this is Mac from Rockwood. How are you?
Hey, Mac, welcome in. Good to talk to you.
Hey, so I'm kind of your mindset, at least I was at the start of the season, losing your quarterback like with Nico, going to UCLA and leaving us high and dry, and then getting a complete unknown with Aguilar. I kind of figured we'd be like a 7-4 or 8-4, 7-5 sort of team. So,
sure.
But I figured going 10-2 would be kind of overachieving for this team, but
yeah.
I just feel like there's some things that Heupel could still clean up. I mean, the stuff with the penalties and his game management, his clock management is just horrendous. I mean, I don't understand how you can let 2 or 3 minutes run off the clock like he does, and not even try to use your timeouts half the time. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. But
he did it again tonight.
He did. He's done it for several weeks now.
It's really
odd. He just don't really seem to.
Kirk Herbstreit's yelling before the 2-minute warning. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Snap the ball. The clock is not your friend here, Josh. The clock's not. I mean, Heupel, and it's odd of Kirk Herbstreit to get that demonstrative during a game, but he was a little bit like offended by it almost, if you notice that.
Yeah, I don't know if I heard Kirk really yelling. I was too busy yelling myself.
Yeah, no, he was yelling. They got to move here. They got to move. What's he doing? What are they doing?
Yeah, I just don't understand that. But I can't really. I'm not ready to put him on the hot seat. I mean, I'd say give it a couple more years. If Faison comes in and he gets all these other players, then I feel like he's earned himself a bit of a cushion. I'm kind of like you. We've had how many 10-win seasons under him?
Oh yeah, he's a winner. The guy.
Yeah, he is. But he just kind of the way he coaches is just completely detrimental to himself. And we run this high octane offense that can just keep the ball rolling, but when you get into these fourth quarter situations, when you're down 2 scores, we take just way too much time off the clock, and he don't even attempt to call a timeout. I just don't understand that.
I was glad tonight that they decided to kick the field goal, though, and just do some simple math, because a lot of these college coaches won't even do that. So stay in the game. Let's try an onside kick here, and let's see if something screwy happens at the end of the game. How about the other guy that won the game tonight, who does not deserve to win the game? He's got 3 minutes left. Yeah. He's got that Mateer guy back there who's a total wild card throwing the ball, and they're running it all over us, and he throws the ball there. A high-risk pass, a high-risk slant. It made 0 sense that he did that.
I don't know why you put the ball back in his hands like that.
Dumb.
I was thinking, kicking that onside kick. I don't know if you watched that Vanderbilt game, but they had their onside kick today, and they knocked it out of bounds.
Yes, they did, my friend. It's really hard to recover an onside kick in college ball right now for whatever reason.
Yeah, I was coming in this game. I figured our defense honestly played pretty good today, all things considered, the way they've been playing.
Yeah.
So I mean, it could have been a lot worse. He turned the ball over 3 times in the first half. We should have been way down, but we somehow kept it within a field goal, or within 6. We were within a touchdown, but yeah. So I just wanted to call in, and I listen to you all the time while I'm working, so I never get the chance to call you. He'd call in to you while I'm working during the week.
Well, thank you, my brother. I'm sorry it's under these circumstances. Call us again, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you, Tony.
In beautiful Rockwood, 865-200-5402, which is a really, really nice community. Bunch of really beautiful communities across this state. Oklahoma wins 33-27. We're going to go back to our phones at 865-200-5402 if you want to get in with us tonight on a night where people are like, why aren't you yelling and screaming? Listen, I don't know what you want me to tell you. You can't do what you did tonight in that game in the first half and live to tell about it if you're playing a decent team. And Venables tried so hard. When they threw that ball, he deserved to lose. He deserved to lose that game trying that slant pass there. That is horrendous game management by them. Horrendous. My gosh, man, what are they doing in this sport? These people make all this money. They have these staffs of that's the thing that pisses me off. They have these staffs of 400 people. You got to run the damn ball there, man. But let's go back to the phones. Tennessee had a lot of stupid in tonight's game. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air as the Dodgers with a double play. Yamamoto wiggles out of trouble, and the Dodgers win 5-4 in 11 innings. So the lockout is coming in 2027, Tony Vitello. The lockout is coming. You'll get to coach Major League Baseball for one season. Hi, welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, Tony. It's Randy from Altamont.
Hey, Randy, welcome in.
Hey, this game has put me out of my playoff misery.
There you go.
Yes. It's hard. I mean, it just has. And do you think Hype will ever hire him at OC? He'll give control over that.
Gosh,
so
no.
He can make some better decisions.
No. Gosh, no. Hype loves his offense, my man. Loves his offense.
And Tony, if I see another turnover with 3 runs in a row and a punt, I'm going to go ballistic at my house. And the problem with our offense is we can't run football consistently. We just can't do it, Tony.
No.
That's the problem with offense.
It's a major problem. You're right. Especially in the games that matter. This is a team, when they get against in the games that matter, they've not been able to run the ball. Against Georgia, they did, and we thought it was real. But then you think back to Georgia, and Georgia defensively is not winning the line of scrimmage, but they're still winning games. I don't know how they're doing that, but they're still winning games, Randy. Don't ask me how.
They know how to win, Tony.
They know how to win.
And Tony, our defense is probably not going to play a better game the rest of the year. And they did tonight.
Yeah, I agree. They gave you what they're going to give you. And here's the thing. Some people are going to point to Jackson Robinson's when you onside kick to them, and they let him have that long run down to the 1. And he did a smart thing, by the way, by getting on the ground. Then they decided to put the ball in the end zone. But I give that kid a lot of credit for getting on the ground. He was thinking about the math there and the clock. Too bad the 2 head coaches don't think that way in this game, Randy. But, yeah, Mateer can't play, though, Randy. We let a quarterback tonight beat us, Randy, that literally cannot throw the football.
Yes. And Tony, I honestly thought second half we had the ball for so long that Oklahoma's defense would wear down. Yep. And they did. I mean, because they controlled the second half.
Yep.
And it's just Tennessee, we're just not playoff material this year. I don't think we are, Tony.
No, Randy.
I just don't think we are.
No.
And we're kind of a young team.
Yeah,
so that's one positive for next year.
Yep, very young.
And we just pass rush ain't there this year. It's just ain't. It's not. It's just we got to find a year where one year we can just put our offense and our defense on the same team, same year, not have a good offensive year one year and a good defensive team one year. I don't know.
It's a trick of the trade, man, in the portal era. Because how do you have a complete football team? It is the absolute trick of the deal in the portal era. But, Randy, you're the man. I love hearing from you, brother. I love your spirit.
Thank you.
Thank you, my man. 865-200-5402. Vols lose 33-27 on your Garza Law 5th quarter fan reaction presented by Marcos Garza, your Garza Law firm, online at garzalaw.com. And I had a sweet parlay going, a 4-legger, and I had the Vols money line at the end of it, and I knew at halftime. You watch enough football, you just know you're in big trouble, man, when you do what the Vols did in that second quarter. You're just in big trouble. John Adams of the Knoxville News Sentinel in here now. Presented by Jennifer Morris, Next Move, SmokyMountains.com. She of Keller Williams fame. And, John, that was a really, really spooky football game the day after Halloween. A lot of weird stuff in that game.
Yeah, it was a bizarre game. I mean, the black uniforms always look odd. There's nothing wrong with them, but they just looked odd because Tennessee is orange and white. Those are its colors. I don't care about uniforms, but it's just a different look. So that kind of set the tone with dark mode night, all the theatrics of that. And then Oklahoma sends out a kicker, and he's got the shortest shorts I've ever seen on a football field.
Yes.
And he just literally kicked Tennessee right out of the playoffs. I mean, he looked like an NFL kicker the way he was booming the ball. But, you know, when you look at this, Tony, we've talked about it all season. Tennessee has no good wins. None.
Yeah.
It has. It was very much alive in the playoffs, and I thought it was going to make the playoffs because I thought the schedule was still manageable. It played a team with a pedestrian offense that's about as unsophisticated as you could get. A quarterback with a bad right throwing hand, scrambling around, running, throwing some short, quick passes, and every now and then they'll make a little run or something. But it's not much offense. And Tennessee played well defensively. Well, I mean, Oklahoma's offense is worse than Kentucky's. Think about that. And Tennessee's defense held it to 90 yards in the first half. It played really well. It played its best game of the year. But you just said it. You can't make those kind of mistakes against a really good team. And that Oklahoma defense, man, that's an elite defense.
Yep.
I know Ole Miss scored 34 on it last week, and it's had some ups and downs, and Texas beat it. But that team was delivering highlight-size hits play after play in that game. That's one of the hardest-hitting defenses I've seen all season. And then they made those plays. What was the scouting report on Joey Aguilar before he joined Tennessee?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not blaming him for this loss, but he throws some interceptions, and he threw 2-9 into double coverage. You can get away with that against some teams, but you couldn't against this defense. It was too good, and it really rose to the occasion. Oklahoma had its back to the wall too. I mean, Brent Venables loses that game. I think it's a good chance he gets fired.
Yeah, and look, and hang right there, John, because we'll get some calls, and I want you to react to some of these folks. But Josh Carter says now that the playoffs are gone, you have to thank Joey for all he did, past tense, and think big picture. This is a super chat over at YouTube, and start the clock on Georgia's development. Josh, if you mean George McIntyre, you'll see him next year. He's not going to play unless Joey gets hurt, I believe. I believe is how that's going to go. But we'll go back to our phones in the meantime. And Tate Sandell tonight put on a show. Hey, John, you've been watching games in these parts for the better part of 4+ decades. Have we ever seen a kicker perform like that in Neyland Stadium? A 55-yarder, a 51-yarder, a 40-yarder, and then he comes back late in the game and adds a 55-yarder.
No, it's one of the best kicking displays I've ever seen. And there wasn't any doubt about those field goals. It wasn't like they just made it over the crossbar.
No, he hammered them.
I mean, it was like he was going to kick it out of the stadium. Who was the kicker, Tony? I want to say it was a UAB or...
Oh, it was the kid from Memphis.
Troy or Memphis.
No, it was Memphis. It was the kid from Memphis that ended up kicking. I'll get his name before the night's over. But he, in warm-ups, we were at the game watching him warm up, and the ball was coming off his leg like somebody was shooting it through the goalpost. That old saying? That guy had a
I can't remember who he was.
Oh, he had a cannon for a leg. And tonight, by the way, Gilbert, his miss just barely missed, if it missed at all. He thought it was good. We have no way of knowing because these two referees down there have this archaic system where they're both under the goalpost and they look at each other like two blind mice. What did you see? What did you see? And then they both say no at the same time because one says no and the other one has to say no. It is the dumbest thing in the world that we have technology, but we can't use the technology on field goal attempts, or we can't make the uprights, because the NFL's talking about adding a good 15 feet or so to the uprights. Everybody needs to do that. These guys are super kickers now. The ball's way up in the air now. These officials can't see it. It isn't like it used to be where it goes, they used to say splitting the uprights. Come on, man. That guy tonight wasn't splitting the uprights. He was kicking it to freaking Sevier County. He was hammering the ball. Let's go to the phones and get our next call in as the Vols lose. And look, maybe it's time for a fresh coat of paint around the program. If that's the case with Josh Heupel as they do their evals, still a lot of season left to happen here, but run, don't walk, Coach, to Walker's Painting. Whether it's interior or exterior, Walker's Painting, making it beautiful since 1999 across our Knoxville area. New construction, repaints, commercial, and they've got free estimates available. And you mentioned you heard about it here on your Garza Law 5th Quarter Fan Reaction, and you're going to get 10% off your first job. And a couple people already have done that, so thank you for supporting what we do here as we go back to our phones on a night where the Vols fall short against Oklahoma 33-27. Tony Basilio, John Adams is here. Our cast and crew was all at the game. They'll be arriving as they do, and we'll take you into the wee small hours of the morning. Hi, you're on the air. Welcome in.
Hey, Tone, can you believe what the coaching I saw when the Blue Jays had first and third and you don't send the runners? Oh, we're not talking about the World Series, talking about the Vols.
Was that a hell of a World
Tony,
Series or what?
That was unbelievable.
Unreal. Great
Tony,
sports, man.
Should he go by the name of Sunbelt Joey or Joey Jaguar? Which one? Which one can we use for Joey?
Nah, you're not going to come in here and dunk on this guy now. Come on. That's not fair.
Tony, he had one good quarter against Georgia. Everybody else that has a pulse that he played against, he wasn't any good. He's a Sunbelt quarterback. That's what he showed tonight. He played like a Sunbelt quarterback.
John, do you find that to be unfair? Do you find that to be unfair, John?
No, that's
ridiculous. Come on,
He's
Mark.
had a really good season.
Come on, he's a Sunbelt quarterback.
Come on, Mark.
No,
That's
he's
a ridiculous
not.
thing to say. Come on, man.
Just because they lost the game,
he gets a lot of his stuff because Heupel is probably legit the best.
It's
Heupel's
nonsensical.
like legit the best game script guy in the country.
Come on, Mark. You're better
so
than
he
that.
always does a great first drive.
You're better than that,
His
Mark.
Heupel, really, his game scripts are a thing of beauty. But and Tony, it's your business, so I can't say anything. But your common fan, what reason do you have to watch the rest of the season?
Because I enjoy college football. I love my team. Hang on. You asked what the reason is. Because there's nothing like college football. Because you're not going to get any of these weeks back. So why not enjoy the next time they take the field in 2 weeks, and then the rest of that season? And that Vanderbilt game is going to be wild at the end of the year. Two pretty good football teams meeting at the end of the year, and that's what the Vols are. They're a pretty good team.
One pretty good football team, one pretty average football team. Let's be real. They haven't beaten anybody, Tony. They had coin flip games against Arkansas and Mississippi State, the two of the three worst teams in the league. They played a below-average ACC team. What's compelling about the season? The only thing compelling about it was the schedule. Now you've blown that up.
It's college football.
You can't win a game in your building against another average football team.
Now, Oklahoma, John, he's right about that. When you let Oklahoma come into your building with that offense and beat you, John, that's not good. He's right about that.
I know. It was. And Tennessee's defense did what it needed to do against that offense.
Played more
because I wasn't sure it was.
More than well enough to win.
Kentucky's offense is horrible, and Tennessee made it look competent.
It's right.
Not competent.
That's right.
Watching Auburn, how did that Auburn-Kentucky game end up anyway?
Kentucky won 10-3.
I'll tell you what.
Oh my gosh! Say goodbye to Hugh Freeze.
Well, this is his biggest cheerleader.
I thought he was going to survive, Tony. I don't think he's going to survive.
No, you can't survive that.
No, you can't lose to Kentucky at Jordan-Hare too.
Yep.
No way.
And by the way, Tennessee did the impossible. It's not fair to Tim Banks, but they still gave up 33 points to that Oklahoma team. Now, 7 of them were not his doing, but still, that's pretty damn bad. That Oklahoma team, Mark, that is one morbid college offense. They got nothing going for them. Nothing.
Well, the Mateer kid is the same as he was at Washington State. Yep. He can't play against anybody decent.
No, he's a wild man. Yep.
And is there any chance they can get Banks to a G5 head coaching job somewhere?
I think MTSU is going to open. MTSU is going to open, and somebody in Nashville needs to use their how do I put this? their muscle. If you're listening to me and you're an elected official and you like getting involved in sports, or Kelly Holcomb, how about doing the Vols a solid and going to bat for my man Tim Banks, who would do a great job.
I mean, he'd
down
take
there.
a pay cut. He'd take a pay cut to get that job.
Well,
but
he
still,
tried
it's
to
a
get
head
it.
coaching job.
He tried to get it a
I
couple
think
years
that's the only
ago.
way they're going to get rid of him.
Yeah, he finished second a couple years ago to Derek Mason, who's really moved the bar there. If the idea was to drop the bar on the ground.
Hey, can I say one more thing and I'll get off of here? Can we be honest about something? Heupel's best season here was with Jeremy Pruitt's players.
Oh,
now, Jeremy Pruitt was never going 10-2 with that team.
This freaking guy.
But that was his best team. Was with Jeremy Pruitt's guys.
Mark, you feel good now? You dunked on Pruitt. You dunked on Heupel. You dunked on Aguilar, who did nothing but come in and give us hope this season. And we still have hope, and I still have hope, and I'm still going to watch the season, damn it. If it's okay with you, you clown. And I get it. I told you so. I told you so. I get it. It's all well and good. Matt Dixon's joined the room. I'll let Matt, in his words, describe what he witnessed, and then we'll go back to the phones. You can score a TD, a T3 TD every time with T3 vodka. That's what I'm saying to you. T3 is Tennessee's premium vodka, handcrafted with passion, precision, and a whole lot of pride. T3 vodka taking the Volunteer State by storm. Crafted right in the majesty of the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. And what an incredible weekend we've had here. It's a shame we couldn't live up to it today, but I got a nice walk in the park today. There were a bunch of Sooner fans and Vol fans out there, and because I knew it was going to be a late night. But T3 filtered 10 times, 80 proof. T3 vodka delivers a smoothness that's unmatched. A dedication to excellence, earning T3 vodka prestigious accolades, a 5-time gold medal winning vodka, 2025 SIPS Consumer Choice Award medal winner. So whether you're sipping it neat on the rocks, mixing your favorite cocktail, T3 vodka is your choice for a premium award-winning experience, and you will score a T3 TD when you ask for T3 vodka by name at restaurants or your favorite package store today. Drink it neat, drink it right. T3 vodka, and score a T3 TD all night. And the T3 TD of the game, unfortunately, tonight happened with 8:01 on the clock as R. Mason Thomas scoops a ball up and goes shedding a couple of Volunteers, goes 71 yards next to a bevy of blockers, and you could see him blow his tire out. You could see him blow his hammy on the way to the end zone. That is one strong human being, the way he shed Miles Kitzelman and just threw him to the ground. I mean, you got to call that what it is. That is one strong guy and a strong defensive performance from Oklahoma. And, you know, if that play doesn't happen, Tennessee's up 7-0. They're getting ready to get 3 at least out of that drive. If they could just get a 2-score lead against Mateer and that woeful offense of Oklahoma, who knows the type of pressure? But the game was never the same. It was never the same after that. Matt Dixon, you jump in here now as you've joined the room. And we'll go back to our TLD logistics phone lines momentarily. Every line is jammed, as they will stay throughout. But your thoughts, Matt, on what we witnessed?
Yeah, obviously really disappointing result. Just, couldn't make plays in the second half to get back in the game. Oklahoma took advantage of your mistakes, and Tennessee didn't turn them into points early. Two pretty evenly matched teams that have some obvious flaws and some obvious strengths as well. But when you give up a defensive touchdown, turn the ball over 2 more times, miss a chip shot field goal while they make 3 50-plus yarders, this team's margin for error isn't enough to overcome that even at home. So we saw Aguilar really struggled tonight, and I think that's obviously, a big part of that, I think, is Oklahoma just shut down our run game. We couldn't run between the tackles at all. They just stuffed us there, and that put a whole lot of pressure on Aguilar. And then the way that they disguise things on the back end, which is what Venables does, they bring blitzes from everywhere. And the numbers show that Aguilar really struggles when he's pressured, and he was pressured a lot tonight and just lofted a couple of just jump balls that their safety ran under twice. So that's disappointing, but you make just enough mistakes, and Oklahoma capitalized, whereas Tennessee especially in the first half and first quarter, you didn't turn their mistakes into points. So
disguising the coverage right before the snap, which is their game, Matt. They really made Aguilar look like kind of an inexperienced kid out there, and he's not. He's a 24-year-old guy that's played a lot of college football, but they had him pretty much off balance from the jump with that stuff, Matt. We got bailed out. We got bailed out with the penalty downfield, and I don't mean to use the term bailed out in a bad way, or we'd have gotten off the field.
They were bailed out.
Okay, yeah. They were bailed out.
And then you took advantage and scored. I think that was the first
That's right.
Opening drive touchdown Oklahoma had given up in like 2 years.
That's right.
And you almost, like you said, you have that scoop and score was just a killer. You have 3 first half turnovers against a team that had forced 4 turnovers all season. We've talked about it with Tennessee, how they forced these timely turnovers and scored touchdowns on them. And that turnover luck just kind of flipped for both teams tonight in the wrong way for Tennessee.
And turnover luck, as we know, is always going to even out. Like we were talking about that during the year, and some people don't want to hear this, but if you're going to rely on turnovers to win football games, you're invariably not going to win football games. You have to do other things. You have to be sound. And Tennessee's defense was good enough to win, but Oklahoma, thank God, couldn't play offense, or that would have been really ugly at halftime. Super chat here, and then we're gonna, and John, I'll throw this at you. Cody MacArthur says UT needs to be on the forefront of hiring an NFL-type GM. The program that does this first and perfects it is going to be the next dynasty in this era of college football. John, what do you think? What happened to John? John, leave the building?
I'll jump in. Oklahoma's got an NFL GM, and that guy from the Senior Bowl.
That's right.
That Nagy guy from the Senior Bowl.
Who just took it. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, and he's a true GM. I mean, I don't know what that relationship's like, but
Right.
I think Bandit's got one too, don't they?
You know what's interesting?
Yeah, they had Barton Simmons. He's like recruiting guy.
Yeah. You know what's really interesting about the whole GM thing is the head coach has to be willing to let that person and trust that person with player personnel stuff. I think Heupel Matt could benefit from that. I also think sometimes that he could benefit from taking the headset off. But he's never going to do that. And I wonder if he's ever going to really trust somebody with his personnel. Do you know what I mean, Matt? Heupel seems like one of these control freak guys.
When Jeff Lebby's let go at Mississippi State, potentially he could do that. And that would be somebody he would trust with it, but
good point.
I don't know. He's got too much on his plate during these games.
No doubt about it.
We've talked about it in the past.
No doubt about
it's just really hard for head coaches to balance all that.
Yep.
And then you see the stuff tonight, like I don't know whether the Oklahoma guy stepped out of bounds or not. It sure looked like he did on the Jumbotron. But Heupel should have just burned a time out there to give the booth more time to at least look at it.
He stepped out of bounds like 3 times.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And the Star Thomas, they said, did step out of bounds, and he didn't step out of bounds as blatantly as, and that was a big play in the game right there because you're up 1, you get a turnover, he runs down the sideline. If they're going to call that an Oklahoma touchdown, then Star Thomas should have had a 38-yard run there.
Yeah, I didn't think he stepped out, but I'm not going to argue with somebody who says he did. The trouble with college football guys is you can take a timeout all you want, but watching the game today and watching all these games today, Florida had a kid catch a ball, clear as day, guys. But because they called it no catch on the field, the play stood. So why in the hell are you wasting my time with these replays?
Don't they have to review every scoring play?
Brian, yes, they do. Or I guess at the NFL level they do.
If you hold them to a field goal, that game was going to turn.
Which is likely
in
what
Tennessee's
you do there.
favor.
Yes.
You likely hold them to a field goal there because they weren't moving the ball at all.
No, they weren't moving the ball. And Matt, that decision not to take the holding call at the end of the half, the way their offense was going, is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. No offense.
I don't have a huge problem with that.
Why?
The less our defense is on the field, the better, as we've seen all year. We get a offsides and give up 15 yards or get a PI. I don't mind that.
Your doggy begs to differ. I agree with your doggy.
You can't let a quarterback run for 20 yards on 3rd and 17. I think that lost the game.
I understand doggy, and your doggy begs to differ. Let's go back to our phones.
That's bad.
Hello and welcome in. You're on the air. It's Garza Law, 5th quarter fan reaction. Hi.
Hey, guys. How you guys doing?
Hey, Greg. Been better, man.
Could be better. I can barely hear you on my phone. I'm trying to.
Cool, buddy. Go
it
for
up
it.
real close. But anyway, I heard a comment from Heifel talking on TV in reference to Joey football having some trouble with the safeties and the movement of the safeties. And I think back, well, how in the hell is he supposed to learn all that? You're supposed to teach him that shit. So there's one mark everybody listening to you should scratch on the paper. And then you got 11 plays in the third quarter. 11 plays in the third quarter. That's from Mike Keith. What in the hell? 11 plays. That stood out in my mind when he said that. That's just not ever wanting that to happen with your coach, no matter who they're coaching.
Well, part of the 11-play equation, just real quick, is you scored very quickly in the third quarter to take the lead, Greg. So there's a context to that. Now, obviously, a couple drives got bogged down and a couple drives got stalled. No question. And you lost field position there. But, to that point, you're still very much in the game to that point.
Well, they got beat. But the thing about it is, we are too soft, gentlemen. You don't see that over the years. We go back, whatever year it might be, with the ball defense. These guys, they're grabbing with one hand. They're not wrapping them suckers like a bear hug. Kesselman on that turnover looked like he was playing patty cake with the guy he was trying to tackle, trying to do it with one arm. Grab him like a bear hug. He should have been tackled. That should not have been a touchdown. But guys, I don't know what it's going to take for you, but I like Heifel, but he's got to get on the hot seat sooner or later, because I'm tired of this happening as we get down through the end of the year. All these players that came in questionable at the beginning of the year, they should be 100 times better by their ninth game.
Yeah, but you're playing an opponent tonight who has an incredible defense. Easily the best defense you've seen all year. One of the best defenses in college football. And Dixon, here's the truth about Brent Venables. He takes his best players and puts them on defense. That's where they spend their money, Matt. They were missing their two best guys tonight, Matt, and they're still damn good. That's just the truth.
Yeah, it's an elite top 10 defense every year.
Yeah, it's unreal.
They were top 3 and top 5 in most categories until last week, and Ole Miss got them a little bit, and Tennessee had some success, but it's an elite defense that's very aggressive up front.
Very aggressive.
Disguise things. They make things really tough for quarterbacks, and our guy just didn't handle that well at all tonight. And I think a large part of that is because we simply couldn't run the ball.
That's exactly right.
In that inside zone, we couldn't do anything.
Exactly.
And that made it really one-dimensional, and I'm not sure our passing game's quite good enough to be that against a really good defense.
I salute Oklahoma for popping our ass.
Greg, thanks. That's You're having an interesting heel turn here on the show. I don't know what to say. So Seth 49827 asks in a super chat, can we go sign that 5-star Curtis kid out of Nashville? I don't know if you guys have seen this guy, but he's committed to play at Georgia. He concussed 2 players last night in a game and made one of the craziest throws I've ever seen in my life. I was sent a clip by the great Ward Baker, and I'm watching this and I'm going, that cannot be real. This guy looks like a freak show. But to answer your question, unless Tennessee goes off Faison Brandon, they're not going to fool around with that kid. I think Vanderbilt's trying to get that kid, that Curtis kid. Vanderbilt's entering the Derby, shall we say, and Vanderbilt's all of a sudden a little bit moneyed up. And I was told today that there are some country music stars that are now involved. Everybody's going to these games down there, and they're showing their gold and this, that, and the other. But that kid is an amazing, crazy-looking talent. Just a crazy-looking talent. Timothy McGee, Matt, you handle this one. Then we'll go back to the phones. Why do we always move the bar for wins, he's asking. We play the games on the schedule, ? And here's his other question. Why is 99.9% of the throws are sideline to sideline, he writes, or we're either throwing the ball up for grabs? Why can't we just play normal 12 personnel for protection in a game like that? A fair comment, Matt, or how do you respond to that?
Well, I think they use 12 personnel a lot, especially in the second and third quarters when Matthews got hurt. You had 12 a lot in the game, and you throw to the sidelines some. Obviously, the quick game stuff, you're trying to make that your running game a little bit, and Oklahoma kind of blew some of those up. They don't really throw balls up for grabs. I mean, obviously you did it twice tonight, really a third time that almost got picked, but that's not what is in this offense. And, that's the first time we've seen Aguilar really do that. Just awful floaters over the middle. You can't do that, obviously, but that's not usually what this offense is. You usually limit turnovers. This year you're a little bit higher than usual, but that's kind of is what it is.
And what a night, like you said, what a night to pick to regress back in terms of the turnover numbers. Cannot do that in your building.
That's why you needed to build that lead early, then you could have leaned on your run game, which maybe you get it going, maybe you don't. But, one thing Oklahoma does do really well, they tackled extremely well in the open field. We didn't get a whole lot of broken tackles. Like Staley's touchdown obviously was one, and Bishop had a few others, but not enough to count. And I said it after the Georgia game, the biggest differences in the teams is just how physical and aggressive Oklahoma's back seven is compared to Tennessee's. They're creating contact where we're just kind of absorbing it, and that's very noticeable live.
It's really well put. Go ahead, Bri. You were there as well.
You did the perfect thing by scoring quickly in both halves. You come out, score your first possession. You got help with the penalty, but you score at 7-0. You go right down the field after getting them off the field and score quickly in the second half. And at home, you'd think that would carry you, but they just couldn't sustain that. And just the turnover, they were going to go up 10-0, 14-0. If they do that, and instead you give Oklahoma a touchdown, the game's probably over at that point.
That Oklahoma
I don't
bunch,
think Oklahoma's coming back from 2 scores down.
No, Bri. I agree with that. You had to not have that result. That R. Mason Thomas, in a weird way, made the play of the game and then never stepped back on the field. In a lot of ways, he's Oklahoma's player of the game. Because that was a man move. And I think he got hurt there. I think Kitzelman, people were getting on Kitzelman on social media. I think Kitzelman hurt him by grabbing him and almost bringing him to the ground. But that kid is so strong. If you go back and watch it, I think that's where he blew his tire. Because he ended up with a hamstring injury, and if somebody really leans on you and gets that leverage just right, you can rip that thing. And it looked very painful. But we'll go back to the phones. I want to remind you that portions tonight presented by our friends at Dos Equis. Grab you a dose. Look, you're nursing this defeat. We're going to be up for several hours here, breaking this thing down scientifically. Dos Equis Lager Especial, Golden Pilsner style beer, made from a choice of hops. It's a balanced composition, smooth, clean finish. Party guest always invited, never overstays a welcome. And just a nuanced blend of malts and earth tones, and you will go for Dos. And I was surprised tonight that their head coach in the middle of the third quarter didn't go for Dos, Bry, to make it a 7-point game. He kicks an extra point to make it a 6-point game, and kind of left Tennessee there numerically one score, and you're ahead of them. Kind of interesting there, Bri. What do you think?
Yeah, I wonder if he just wasn't confident because that was the first offensive touchdown they'd scored. It took them 3 quarters to get an offensive touchdown.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he just wasn't confident, and that might have been a compliment to Tennessee's defense and how well they were playing.
Maybe. It was something. 865-200-5402. Let's go back to our phones. Again, I don't like not take this kicker from Oklahoma has been red hot, and he's been hammering everything. He missed 1 kick to start the year, and he has been just lights out and money. I think he's made like 11 kicks in a row now, some crazy thing like that. But he put on a display for the ages tonight. And to me, when you get a holding call, you get him back out of field goal range. That's me, though. Me and Matt disagree on that. It won't be the last thing we'll disagree on this evening, I'm sure. Let's get our next call in. As I remind you, no Friday show at Calhoun's this Friday with the off day. But, man, we had an incredible time down there yesterday. The entire Fan Run crew was there. And then we played music there last night. The Oklahoma people are just the sweetest people in the world. I mean, the Tennessee fans and the Oklahoma fans, at one point we had everybody singing Rocky Top together, all those Oklahoma fans down there. Learn the words, and we're singing the words, and I mean, we just had a damn great time. It's a shame tonight we came out and played the way that we did. That kind of bums me out. But college football, to Mark in Columbus, I love college football, Mark. I don't have to win every game to love college football, you punk and you clown. Let's go to the phones and get our next call in. And I don't have to win every game to love my Vols either, Martin Colombo, you clown. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, what's up, guys? Josh, your boy.
Hey, Josh, you're under wings.
Thanks. Tony, so tonight, even though we lost, I'm going to give the player of the game to Braylon Staley. He had a really good offensive game tonight for the Vols.
Very much so. He had an excellent game tonight.
Yeah, he did.
And his touchdown in the third quarter, which temporarily put Tennessee ahead, was a guy flexing on a freshman who came up, and instead of wrapping him up like we talk about with us, he came up and tried to play hero ball. Yep. And instead of getting him on the ground with a proper tackle, he paid the price because Staley ran him over and ran into the end zone.
Yep.
Yes, sir. He was Tennessee's leading receiver tonight, by the way, with 75 yards. No,
Tony,
actually, Matthews was 76. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you first, Tony, what do you think lost the game? Do you think it was the offense or defense?
Oh, I just think those turnovers in the first half just cooked your goose tonight.
And the fumble that caused, we could have gone up 14-0. Was that Sanders that caused the fumble when?
Yeah, he didn't help. Yeah, he didn't help. That was a whole lot of everything. That was just poor execution and a hell of a hit and a damn great play by Oklahoma to get the ball and take it back for a touchdown. Everything about that to me screamed desperation for the Sooners. Because I agree with Brian. If you get 2 scores up on there, on them at that spot, you can make the point that that's almost curtains for them. They're so challenged on offense. Matera is so bad.
Tony, you would think if I told you Oklahoma did not have 100 total yards at halftime, you would think Tennessee would be up by at least 2 or 3 scores going into halftime.
No doubt about it. But then when you tell me Tennessee turned the ball over 3 times in the first half, and you're only down 6, you're lucky to only be down 6. So there's 2 ways.
Yeah, you're lucky to be down by 6.
Yep.
You could be down by more.
Yep.
I disagree with Colombo. Respectfully, I don't think Joey Aguilar is a Sunbelt quarterback. I think he is a pretty good quarterback in the SEC. He just made some mistakes tonight against a really good Oklahoma defense. And the interception I want to talk about, Tony, the throw to Brazel in the end zone. You got to either overthrow that because you know the safety is going to be coming in and trying to pick that ball off.
Yeah, Joey just had a night tonight where he was just out of step, and he just never looked comfortable out there. And give Oklahoma a lot of credit because they did it to Nico last year. Look, that's when they knew they were in trouble with Nico, is when they played Oklahoma down there last year. And that game tonight at times in the first half looked a little too fast for Joey Aguilar. And that's okay. Hey, he's not the first guy that Oklahoma sped up, and he ain't going to be the last.
He ain't going to be the last, Tony.
No.
And out the door, I got a question for you in the panel. Is Josh Heupel finally going to have to force his hand and fire one of his assistants at the end of the season?
Thank you, Josh. I mean, Matt, who do we want fired after tonight? Everybody's talking about this. Who are you going to fire? I don't understand.
I mean, I don't know. I think you need to improve. You need to figure out ways to improve your program, and the coaching staff is one area.
Yep.
I mean, I do think that's something you can evaluate at the end of the season. I mean, it doesn't do you much good right now to get rid of assistant coaches, but it's certainly something you evaluate at the end of the year. But I don't know. I'm not a big guy. I don't love to put people on hot seats after each game every week, and every fan base does it. I just think it's a little tiring at some point.
I agree with that. I mean, when you make the sport all about who your coach is, and every game's a referendum on your coach. Look, if Josh Heupel deserves to get fired, he's going to get fired. That's how this works. And if he keeps his friends around long enough, he'll get fired. If that's what he's done. And if you don't go out in this league to kill, you're going to get killed. That's how this league works. We've seen it down through the years. And the same goes for that coach at Oklahoma who won tonight. He gets a stay. You think Oklahoma's done losing? When you saw that offense they put on the field tonight, let me help you out. They're not. You think that team's making the playoffs? They're not. And I didn't think we were making the playoffs. And I'm not here to say I told you so to you. But we talked Tuesday. Matt, I asked Matt, what's more likely, 10-2 or 8-4? He said, well, if you make me choose between those two numbers, I'll go 8-4. Because we just aren't consistent enough. We don't do enough things consistently. That's not ripping your team. That's just looking at it. But that's not some referendum on your coach. To me, it isn't. Our team's just not this year's additions okay. And look, some people are going to be really mad at me for saying this, but you started way behind the 8 ball because you had to go get a quarterback in May. And it is what it is. We're making the best of it. It's been a fun year. It's been an interesting year. It's a great year in the sport. Unfortunately for us, it feels like we're not alive for a playoff chase right now. But Sean Sinclair, your thoughts on what we witnessed? And then we go back to our phones. As I remind you, we're not going to be at Calhoun's, but we'll be back in a couple weeks. And also, special shout out to them for what they do for our community with our, and we need your tickets for the New Mexico State game. I need you to get that in front of people.
Won't be a problem now.
We need 350 tickets. next couple weeks for our Machi tailgate game, which in the Machi program, we've done this now for 10 years. And that's a program that is a mentoring program for children that have one or both parents incarcerated. It's a faith-based organization. It is a wonderful thing. I've seen so many things at that thing that make me cry every year. Just a great way to mix what we do and take sport and mix joy with it and give those kids the day they deserve and treat them like the kings and queens that they are in this world, because life has dealt them a blow. And so God bless the Amachi folks for what they do, and all those mentors and volunteers as well, standing in the gap. I do want to remind you that our friends at Calhoun's are going to have as well an incredible Thanksgiving feast offering that we're going to tell you about, and support the Calhoun's near you. They're great supporters of what we do, and they are the Taste of Tennessee. So thank you for that great turnout yesterday. We had a wonderful day down there. Sean Sinclair, your thoughts on what we witnessed, then we go back to the phones.
I'm telling you have to forgive me. I've been a whole.
All right, yeah, you're going to skip around. I'll come back to you when you get out of your hole. Put up on the thing there that when you're out of your hole, okay? Put it up on our chat there. Let's go back to our phones at 865-200-5402. I mean, here's the bottom line with tonight's game, and it's pretty simple. You turn a ball over 3 times like that. Timothy McGee, Matt, has popped back in here. He wants to get your thoughts on this. Here we go, and then we'll go to the phones. And this is over on YouTube. This is a super chat. He says the following. Sorry, I meant to say 12 personnel, tight end on the line, so you can be more creative and have jet sweeps, more slants. Use more of the middle of the field with the tight end. Matt, fair criticism or no?
I mean, you can. They've done it more this year than they have in the past. They obviously trust Aguilar over the middle more than, Nico or Joe Milton. You had some of those like dumps that Kitzelman where he was wide open early in the game. Those were kind of over the middle. You've hit Staley over the middle a few times. You had a really nice throw and catch to Ethan Davis, who's one of your tight ends who's kind of emerging these last 2 games. I think they actually used the whole field a lot more this year than they have in the past, but it was a criticism that I think was valid, the last couple of years, but they're slowly improving on that. I'd like to see more outside run game. I do agree there. We rely so much on just those inside zones, yep. And 90% of the time it works. But tonight was one of those nights that maybe the worst night we've had running the ball in a big spot. And I'm trying to remember. I mean, besides Georgia, can't remember of another time where we just kept getting stonewalled and just getting 1 or 2 yards on those runs. We couldn't break anything.
Matt, we have a guy here on YouTube that says I'm apathetic this evening. What? I'm going to be up till 3 o'clock in the morning doing a post-game show. I mean, what the hell do you want out of me? What do you mean I'm apathetic? What does that even mean? Because I'm not yelling and screaming, Matt, and not calling for the coach to be fired. I'm apathetic, Matt. You like it? You like the mentality, Matt?
I do.
Yeah, it's
I do.
fun.
And it's only midnight because we get an hour back tonight. So
thank you, Cinco. You sound like you're in a better spot, but let's just doubly make sure and get another call in here. Guy, take another call. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air. TLD Logistics phone lines here on Garza Law 5th Quarter Fan Reaction. Hi,
Tony B. How's it going, man?
Hey, I've been better. Thank you,
brother. I hear you. I'm calling in from Claiborne County. This is Zach.
Hey, Zach. Welcome in.
Man, just I got a couple points to make. One, somebody just mentioned it, and they were talking about us using the middle of the field. But how many times am I going to see, and I'm not harping on Banks, but in this spot I am, how many times am I going to see Banks line his defense up with a linebacker in the middle of the field? You drop everybody else, and you have one guy with a mobile quarterback, or that linebacker leaves, and you've got 20, 25 yards of just open grass, you're blitzing, or you got a 4-man rush, everybody else is dropping in coverage, and you allow, Mateer did it twice. He broke one for like 23 yards, I think, in the first quarter.
Yep.
And then he broke another one on third down. And I'm just like, can we not go dime? Do we not believe in spine? Like,
yep.
I mean, I know, I know we're blitz happy with Banks, but like, in certain spots, are we not allotting a man, one man to the quarterback so we can, because for years Tennessee's got hurt by running quarterbacks. It's not just this regime.
Yeah.
Secondly, too, somebody mentioned it just a minute ago, but the last two quarterbacks we had here, they wasn't the most accurate, and they couldn't complete the deep ball. Obviously, Joey has done a better job with that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like in certain spots, this offense, like tonight, we tried the running game, it didn't work, and in years past, Heupel has stuck to it, and if we can't run the ball, he's going to die on that hill. And I don't know if it's just he feels like he's got a guy now that can do how this offense needs to be run. But I mean, abandoning the run game, I get it. If you ain't getting no yards, you ain't getting no yards. But you go one dimensional against a good defense like Oklahoma, you're just
Oh, you're begging
you're
for it.
yourself.
Yeah, because your quarterback's a sitting duck back there, and we saw that tonight. Like, look, that shot that Aguilar took in that third quarter was wow, and he took some. This Oklahoma team now, they mean business on defense. I mean, they'll hit you, and I mean really hit you. And so you bring up a good point because, and I appreciate you, Zach. Thank you. There have been a couple times this year, guys, where you look back at the numbers and you say, even in victory, should have run the ball more. Should have run the ball more. And I wonder if because they have such a good long ball thrower, if they just kind of get away from it. Tonight, I just don't think you're going to be able to run the ball on them. And by the way, Dale Jones said something interesting, Matt, to Bino and myself. We were at, and Dale joins us on Fridays, giving us a little kind of what he feels like is going to happen in the game and calling on his experience as a player and then a position coach and a defensive coordinator, 30-plus years, maybe 40-plus years around the sport. He said Tennessee on defense, Matt, needs to figure out a way with their safety play to take something away from somebody. He said the way they conventionally play, he said, I would bring safety up, which is kind of what Zach's talking about there. He said, I would just take something away from this offense tomorrow, which I think is kind of an interesting, before we go to Sean, I think that's an interesting observation from Dale Jones.
Yeah, it'd be nice if he could do something. It doesn't seem like we put up much resistance, throughout the season. But yeah, it would be nice to have a wrinkle. I just don't think opposing quarterbacks ever feel uncomfortable going against our defense. Like they don't ever seem confused, kind of like Aguilar was tonight.
That's a great point.
I mean, even Mateer, he doesn't see the field well at all. And when he does see guys downfield, he just overthrows them. But the opposing quarterback never feels rushed or a lot of times are really uncomfortable back there. They look like they kind of know what we're doing and we don't disguise things. But yeah, I mean, anything Dale Jones says, I should agree with because he knows a whole lot more about it than I do or any of us do.
When you go back and rewatch that game, Matt, I can't wait to talk to you on Tuesday because Matt comes in on Tuesday and we'll after he sees a film and he writes a great report for us over at tclub.team on Tuesdays. And when you see some of the stuff Mateer did tonight, the jump passes, the throwing against his body when he didn't have to, the throwing into traffic, the idiotic decision they made to throw the ball at the end of the game instead of run the clock out. You do stuff like that, you deserve to lose the game, man, but we don't have enough. We didn't have enough to finish them tonight or to get a quick score and really make it interesting. It would have been really, really fun to get a quick score there and kick the ball off and make that thing interesting. But Sean Sinclair, your thoughts on what we witnessed?
Hope I'm in a better spot. Tell you, first thing, he puts on a show like you. Dark mode.
You're not in a good enough spot yet. Stay right there, Cinco. Cinco's caught in the suit, as we say in the trade, outside the stadium, I guess. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air. It's Garza Law, fifth quarter fan reaction. Hi.
Hey, Tone. Rusty.
Hey, Rusty.
So, hey, brother. I would ask how you're doing, but none of us are doing good. We all know that. It's not a fun night. And the Dodgers are back-to-back World Series champs, so we're going to get a lockout here in the next little bit. Maybe baseball will get better at that level.
Figure themselves out.
The defense played probably good enough to win the ball game tonight. I mean, they gave up a 3rd and 17 on a scramble play when you should have just been allowing them to have 10 yards and tackle, but you overrushed the quarterback. But they forced a fumble later on that drive and gave the ball back to us, to the offense, which, proceeds to run it 3 straight times and punt it right back to them and give them real good field position. So can't really kill the defense tonight. It was mismanagement by a head coach for the most part. But 70 looked like a freshman tonight. I mean, Joshy asked the question, and it's 100% true. Sanders blocked down and left the free rusher off the edge just to come by. And Sanders immediately, if you watch it, knew he did it. He tried to get back to the guy who came free, and he shouldn't have been blocking and helping the guard. He should have just been sliding backwards and taking that blitzer away who forces the fumble and turns into 7 points on a 1st and 10 when you're moving the ball at will. And then he also let a free rusher come through late on the drive that ended up with the 4th down pass that bounced off Van Dorslayer's face mask. On 2nd down, he gave up a sack because he did the same thing. He let the outside rusher come free, number 10, off of his edge, and he helped block a guy that he did not have any business doing. And freshmen make mistakes.
Here's the thing, right?
But it's what happened.
When you play an Oklahoma team that speeds everybody up because they got great athletes on the field on defense, because that's where they put their money. That's what it's going to look like, man. That's what it's going to look like from your quarterback. They're going to make that tackle look like a freshman, which he is. He's an inexperienced freshman. And really, I mean, let's just call this what it is. That's the real first great college defense we've seen all year. And they're very good at what they do. Very good at what they do. And we didn't help ourselves tonight either.
And yet we're dicing them before Sanders messes up that block. I mean, we're going through them like a hot knife. They're putting up very little resistance, as good as they were.
Yep.
And then where Heupel was really bad, it's timeouts and clock management. We pick up the 1st down with like 32 seconds to go after they they jump off sides. We get it to 3rd and 1. We hand the ball off and get a 1st down, and we have 2 timeouts, and we're almost at midfield, and we're just trying to get 3 to make it a 3-point ball game, or make it a tie game at half. And what do? We don't use one of our timeouts and make sure everybody knows exactly what the plan is and discuss things. We hurry up, and the quarterback rushes and throws a ball 8 yards over Davis's head. Just simple stuff that this coach has to get better at. I don't know if he needs to make firings. I think you can get a better defensive coordinator. I've said it, but you got to get better at managing the game as a coach. He got outmanaged by an imbecile on the other sideline when it comes to managing a football game. And the other guy played the game close to the vest and kicked field goals, and had a great kicker who got him there. But Heupel made a lot of bad game management mistakes. I mean, he was lost in the 3rd quarter after the Braylon Staley touchdown. We get the turnover, as I said. We run it 3 straight times and don't get a 1st down. They go down and score. We get kicked off to the next possession. What do? 3 straight pass plays and have to punt the ball. He was just guessing. He was a little lost tonight, and it doesn't mean he's going to be that way all the time. He's going to have much better days than he did today, but it was a bad day.
It's a good point. And the other thing about him is he's just had sort of an uneven year with the headset on. He just has. It kind of is what it is at this point. He needs help.
Unfortunately, also needs somebody for discipline.
Well, that's true.
The undisciplined play, I don't care what anybody says, costed you being in the Alabama game. Just silly, self-inflicted crap.
Yeah.
And the Georgia game, there was a couple of silly, self-inflicted things that costed you taking a 12-point lead after you forced a turnover, and it costed you being 5 yards further back for a field goal kick because you weren't disciplined.
That's right. And listen, I appreciate it. Matt, the thing is, there's good and bad with all these coaches, right? It's just kind of the nature of this thing. All these guys, good and bad with all of them.
Yeah. And I think Heupel's got a whole lot more good than bad, but you see the bad pop up, like tonight, and the good can't overcome it. It does most games, and I think, overall for your program, it's, a huge positive, but he's got to clean up some of the in-game stuff, whether that's getting somebody else on staff to help him that he trusts, that he can lean on.
Right. Yeah, he does.
Hiring other better people around him, and just getting better himself.
Yep.
I think that's also the case. I don't know. It's weird with the offense this year. I just don't think he I don't know if it's the quarterback or what, but he just doesn't trust this offense to go at tempo like they did with Hooker. I mean, those first 2 years with Hooker, they literally would barely even look at the sidelines, and they'd be up ready to snap the ball, running the same stuff. And we just don't trust our offense, our personnel to do that anymore.
And these are his players. Mark in Colombo said he had his best team when Jeremy Pruitt recruited those guys. And you know what? It's semi-hard to argue with that. He has best offense with somebody else's players. So far, that's an accurate statement. Now, we'll see going forward what it
Maybe
looks
they
like.
should add Jeremy Pruitt to the staff.
I don't know. Pruitt had a good eye for talent, apparently.
Going to be Jacksonville State. He's going to be their DC next year.
There you go. My friends at TLD Logistics, so much more than a trucking company. They do everything. Whatever your challenges are relating to shipping, you call TLD Logistics, let them figure it out from there. They're online at tldlogistics.com. And look, if you're an owner-operator, a spot awaits you on our team. Contact TLD Logistics online at tldlogistics.com. Tell them Tony B sent you. And we're getting ready to go back to our phones. But the weird thing about the Heupel era is what I just mentioned, and then the weird thing with the quarterback choices. And I know people are going to dump on Joey Aguilar for what he did tonight. Here's the deal. Oklahoma does that to a lot of people. Now, the weird thing, and Matt pointed this out earlier in the week, and it's something that quietly worried Matt because he shared this with me. When a defense like Oklahoma is this deep into the season, is not creating turnovers, eventually that levee is going to break. It's just the way the sport is. And Tennessee's been living on those turnovers. Living on them. I mean, living on the timely turnover. And tonight, the untimely turnover really, really got us. And now we've reached the time of the show, Matt, where people start calling my personal cell phone. Do you like that portion of the program, Matt?
I love it.
At 1:30 in the morning.
And not only did the timely turnovers cost you, you actually gave up 7 points on them and had 3 of them in the first half.
Yes.
It was, that's so frustrating for this to be the game that happened in.
And, we got a guy like Appalachian Red Roots over here who's calling me every name in the book. He says, keep the faith, guys. We make the Citrus Bowl yet. What a beta. So that's a beta. I mean, it's a beta thing to look at your team and see what they really are. Or is it an alpha thing to be a magical thinker and say, man, we should win all our games, but we don't have the best team, but we should because I'm. What are you? What's your name again? Hang on a second here. Laura tells me not to get triggered by these fools. Because I'm Appalachian Red Roots. Okay. You're right. You're a real alpha and I'm a beta.
Would you get excited about a bowl game with Miami?
Brian, I don't care who they play. If Tennessee's playing football, I'll watch it and we'll talk about it afterwards. Let's go back to the phones. 865-200-5402. And my thing is, people say, well, why aren't you yelling and screaming? I never thought we were making the playoffs this year. It was great to dream about it. And yes, the schedule's easy. And the schedule's going to be very hard next year. And Matt's right, and a lot of callers are right. Heupel needs to fix the holes in his game, or we're going to get our doors blown off a bunch next year by that schedule. That's true. And you're going to have an inexperienced quarterback out there, whether you put that Brandon kid on the field or whether you put George McIntyre out there. All these things are accurate. And I would like Tim Banks to find another job. Somebody just had a great line over here on YouTube, Matt, which is, why don't we just let him serve as offensive coordinator, and then he could sit up there and do nothing in the booth while Heupel calls the plays, and they could pay him. I mean, it's actually
line.
Not a bad line. Whoever came up with that's a pretty damn good line.
Maybe he can be the game management guy. And time management.
Let's go to the phones and get our next call, because we have a guy that manages this and manages that and manages this. And if you want to get in with us tonight, very disappointing night as the Vols lose to Oklahoma in kind of an ugly game in pretty cool uniforms. Hello, you're on the air. Welcome in.
Hey, Tony. Josh from Washington State. How you doing?
Hey, man. Good to hear from you in Washington State.
Hey, so all year I've been trying to figure out what this team's strength is, and I haven't really been able to figure it out, kind of leaning towards offense. But watching tonight's game, it finally dawned on me. This team is better at keeping their opponent in the game than any team I've ever seen. Whether it's letting them convert third downs, us giving them a turnover, or missing a field goal, we just find a way to keep our opponents in these games. We can't seem to put anyone away whenever we have the momentum on our side.
You're exactly right. And that's a hallmark of a team. I mean, you think back to the Mississippi State game, think back to Arkansas. And those two teams played today, and I erroneously assumed, because Arkansas was up 17 in the fourth quarter on Mississippi State, in really what is kind of a toilet bowl sort of game in our league, I erroneously assumed that Arkansas got home with the win, but no. That Mississippi State bunch that drug a defeat from the jaws of victory last week actually came back and beat that poor Arkansas team who, I mean, Matt, they couldn't win. Arkansas couldn't win, Matt. If you put them up 28-0 with like 10 seconds on the clock, they'd find a way to lose a game.
No, they're an incredible fantasy football team. They're going to, get a bunch of yards and a bunch of points until it's winning time, and then they're absolutely not coming through when it matters.
Dreadful. And to your point,
second week in a row, a 17-point fourth quarter lead was not safe in a Mississippi State game. I'm glad they were on the receiving end of it tonight. and that's only the second worst game of the SEC this weekend. That Auburn Kentucky game is by far the two worst teams in the league.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the league's not exactly glamorous and glorious at the bottom. None of these leagues are, but wow, our bottom is pretty bad. But you're right.
Yeah, but even with those teams, I was thinking about it too. I mean, against Arkansas, we almost gave up a 17-point lead in the fourth quarter.
No doubt.
We kept Mississippi State around the entire game through, special teams, miscues or just poor defense, and even tonight, we had a real opportunity, I felt, in that first half to go in at least up a possession, maybe two, and yet we're going into halftime down. It's just it's confusing. I just don't know how we can keep them hanging around like that.
We have a knack for it. We have a knack for it. Our thing is, and here's the reason I never thought this team would go to the playoffs. And somebody said it earlier, we're just not good enough in enough places. That's why teams hang around. We just don't do enough little things well. Just, whether it's a penalty to stop a drive, so it's a little bit of sloppiness, Whether it's, a missed block on the offensive line, which I don't know what that is, either physical or it's mental and attention to detail. Our secondary, God bless them, we've kind of been behind the 8 ball all the year there. Our defensive coordinator kind of blows. No offense to him. But, we're just not quite there. And Heupel hadn't had a really great year with the headset either, managing these games. I mean, it is apparent that he needs help managing these games. That's becoming crystal clear to me.
Yeah, and he's confusing too, because there are play calls that he will do that you look at and just think, wow, that's genius, great call. And then you have a critical 4th and 1, and you throw to a freshman tight end with 2 catches on the year.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense to me. Just one quick question for you and the crew. I just want to know your thoughts. What did you guys think about going for that onside kick the first time after we got that quick touchdown with just under 2 minutes left in the game? Do you like that onside,
No.
or would you have rather kicked it deep and play defense?
Here's why I kick it deep. I always think, and Tennessee Lee gave me this, and I think it's a great thing to put into your vernacular. What does the opposing coach want me to do here? I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to do the opposite. If I'm Oklahoma there, the last thing I want is John Mateer back there with 2 timeouts after a 2-minute warning, having to get a first down in that spot. Because Brent Venables belonged in that spot because he kept Tennessee in the game with stupidity. And he deserved to lose the game there. Kick the ball off. Make that kid execute. Make that kid get a first down in the shadow of his own goal line, no matter where that is, whether that's the 25, the 30. Maybe you have some kind of trick play, special play, where you can kick the ball down the middle of the field and squib it around, or however you can figure out a way to put some pressure on him. When you onside kick the ball and you give them the ball at midfield, the pressure is now off. So I would kick off there. Matt, what would you have done? You and Bri, what would you guys have done?
I don't have a problem with the onside kick, but the likelihood of you getting it is not very high. The issue with that is you really needed to score before the 2-minute warning to get that extra timeout, and you failed to do that. So I almost felt like you had to do it, because either way you've got to stop them from getting a first down, whether it's at their own 25 or around midfield, and you just needed a field goal. But it's one of those I'm not sure which is the right one. It's just kind of it's low percentage either way.
I always think
the timeout usage was terrible. The first timeout they had to use was just, I don't know what they were doing.
It was bad.
And so they should have had 3 timeouts. And you've got to score. I said at the time, you got to score before the 2-minute warning, and you got to show urgency there on offense.
What that game shows me, though, again, is the game can change as much as it wants to change. But if I'm beating you at the line of scrimmage, I still have a huge advantage from this standpoint. It's 4th and short. I make Tennessee go way into their bag of tricks because they have zero, and I mean zero, confidence in their running game. They don't have any confidence their quarterback can get that first down. And it's 4th and short. They don't have any confidence in a back can get that first down. They don't have any confidence their line's going to hold up to throw the ball out to a wide out to get that first down. They have to run some, and I'm not knocking the play, but they got to call on a guy whose name we've called a couple times in garbage time and thought it was cute. But that shows you how dominant Oklahoma was at the line of scrimmage tonight.
Yeah. I like kicking it deep on that onside, but no, I understand. I just have one last comment. I hope someone's talking to Max Gilbert, because his confidence has to be destroyed after missing what turned out to be a difference-maker field goal.
Yeah.
And then have to watch Oklahoma's kicker drill everything that they put in front of him for the rest of the game. I really hope someone's talking to him to get his head right, because we're going to need him. I know our playoff, aspirations are little to nothing, but I'm still watching every game. I can't not. Been doing it all my life. I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So,
hey, listen, this is not the Tennessee Titans we're talking about here. These guys are worth watching. If you bottom something out and you sit there and you play 12 games in college football and you win 2 of them, or 3 of them, or 4 of them, and you're going to look away, I got that. These guys could, go 9-3, get to a good bowl game, finish in the top. It's not the Titans. Not the Titans. This is not a playoff or bust deal, for me anyway. It's all in the eye of the beholder. I didn't expect a playoff anyway, so it kind of is what it is at this point.
The season now comes down to what do you do in Gainesville?
That's right.
If you can get that game and go 9-3, I think everybody would have signed up for that to start the season. Playoff or not.
I'll tell you what, Bri. I think Florida's got a better football team than we do. So I was worried about that game anyway. And now watch them against Georgia. How this Georgia bunch continues to do what they're doing is beyond. It defies logic, the way they're winning some of these games. That call they made today, when they let that wide receiver get behind, and of course that quarterback underthrew him because he's so bad when he needs to be. But we'll go back to our phones. First, though, Connexial, Knoxville's own transportation logistics tech company, proud sponsor of your My 20 drive of the game right here on your Garza Law 5th Quarter Fan Reaction. Now, our T3 TD of the game, T3 Vodka TD of the game earlier, was the kid from Oklahoma taking the ball in, because that was the biggest play of the game. And R. Mason Thomas, who didn't play the rest of the game, but Bri, the Connexial drive of the game, as selected by you, of course, the transportation platform revolutionizing your trucking industry nationwide. You want your fleet to be more efficient, make drivers on our roads safer. KONEXIAL.com. KONEXIAL.com. We heard from Connexial Cora earlier in the show, who is the youngest caller on the program at the age of 7. And I implored her to find another team to watch, so she's not going to torture herself. Of course, I say that in jest, kind of. Bri, what was our Connexial drive of the game this evening, in your opinion?
Well, I think coming out of halftime, and you had bend but don't break. You had shot yourself in the foot quite a bit, but you were down 16-10, and you had a chance. You go right down the field, and Staley makes the big catch and run. You take the lead 17-16. So for all you did wrong, you had a second half lead. And you fought back through all that adversity to do something, and get the lead back. And it's a shame that didn't lead to a win, but I'll have to give that the Connexial drive of the game.
The touchdown scored with 11:17 left as Tennessee drives 5 plays. Let me see where I'm at here. Hang on. Where am I? Where's this drive? What's wrong with my brain? My brain's not working all of a sudden here. Tennessee goes down the field and scores that touchdown in the third quarter. 13-10 to go in the game. They get the ball. They go 5 plays, 83 yards in 1 minute, 18 seconds, and temporarily take a lead. Matt, did you feel good about the game at that point? Did you think, hey, man, we're going to survive this thing and get on the other side of it?
Yeah, I felt good because their offense still hadn't done a whole lot, and you've been able to move the ball. You controlled the game, except for kind of the end of the first half. But you were in control of the game, and you didn't let them double dip out of the middle 8, and you got a stop, and then you scored. Yeah, you took the lead. I thought I was hoping you'd be able to get enough stops and be able to move the ball and score enough to win. And so unfortunately, you didn't. And really, you had to make some plays late just to kind of be in the game.
Crazy. That little stretch of the game right there, you score a touchdown, and all of a sudden, you're down 2.5 scores. I mean, like that. And somebody criticized earlier our offense, but the truth is, defensively, they've just started to win the line of scrimmage at that point. It's almost like they dug deeper. They dug deeper. And it was a hell of a play by Staley on that play, that touchdown, running over that freshman. They had two defenders collide because a freshman came up and tried to blow him up instead of getting him on the ground. And really, really good example of young players there doing what they do, which is they're going to make mistakes in these spots. So 865-200-5402. Look, here's the thing about tonight is that it's in your building. You don't lose these games. That's just the truth. These games are really hard to win on the road. And that's the thing that really sucks about this game. You don't lose these games in your building. You shouldn't lose that game in your building. That's a bad loss. In my mind, that's a bad loss. Pretty good Oklahoma team, and you're pretty good. But that's a bad loss because you just don't lose those games in your building. To me, a sign that you have a healthy program is when you win the games in your building. Now, we've lost two of them. Nobody beats Georgia, okay? So, and I don't know how they're doing it, but nobody beats them. But in this league, you should win the rest of them in your building. That's the expectation Heupel has played to, and he's pretty much been that guy. He's beaten Florida and Alabama in his building. I think it's a fair thing to say you should win the games in your building. Because I thought the third loss would come to Florida. Because even I, as hard-headed as I tend to be, have come to the conclusion that's just not going to happen down there. Maybe it does now. I don't know. But to me, a sign of a healthy program is I protect my house. Let's go back to the phones. So the question
and they've done that.
Yeah, they've done it.
Most of his seasons, except his first season until this year.
And the question becomes this, right? Here's the question. Did Tennessee fall back tonight on a night where you fall back? Are we going to look at this Oklahoma game a couple years from now and say, hey, that was a fallback game? It's food for thought.
One thing that
could
be is they won't feel pressure. I mean, they shouldn't feel any pressure the last three games because if they're out of the playoff race, then they're just sort of playing out. Hopefully they can, but their opponents probably won't feel any pressure either.
The hell does that mean? They won't feel any pressure.
Well, I mean, they're out of the playoff race. So,
hey, Brian, this is the part. This is the part of the show where you start getting yelled at. This is where I'm at. I love this part of the show.
My wife's out of town for a work conference, so I've definitely already been into the.
Let's go! And we get our next call.
I don't think it's a fallback game for the program. That's overemphasizing just one game.
No, I said we might look back on it. I didn't say I'm not overemphasizing one game. Just relax.
I mean, you won it. You won in Norman last year, and you kind of gave it back this year.
And you made the playoffs.
That was such a big game last year. I know we kind of glossed over it.
Yeah,
but that was their first ever SEC game. Heupel returning to Norman, and I thought he actually coached an excellent game there. And he took that game off his quarterback when he had a lead. Whereas tonight, his quarterback, you didn't have a lead, and your quarterback kind of gave the game away. It's really a contrast, but
that's interesting.
It's a shame. It's a shame you couldn't have gone 2-0 against them. It's really disappointing to lose at home.
And Matt, when that Venables fool threw that ball at the end of the game, he deserved to lose that game. That's
such a bad play call.
So nonsensical.
I mean, I'm sure Venables doesn't have anything to do with the offense, but that's a terrible. You can't do that.
Nonsensical.
That's just. But you see that in every game.
Oh, yeah.
There's so few teams that play clean and smart. Mm-hmm. You see these coaches overthinking it every game you watch.
That's literally the only way they could lose is that.
That's it, Brian. Our fourth down
That's the only way they could have lost.
Guys, our fourth down call to that tight end, Matt, was a nicely designed play.
He's wide open.
Why do you have a true freshman out there? Why are you doing that? Because he didn't turn around and look for the ball.
Well, you got heavy and went under center, which is something we used to always complain that we didn't do. No, again, not being able to run the ball is ultimately what cost you this game because you couldn't pick up those yards like there. Any other game we line up and Bishop gets a first down, but we had that other third and short early in the game. We tried that QB power that we usually use around the goal line, which I didn't mind that call either. You're trying to get outside the tackles, but they just defended it really well. You just couldn't run the ball tonight, and that's really disappointing. Our offensive line just got whipped tonight. I mean, they were really bad.
Back to our phones we go. 865-200-5402. You're on the air. Welcome in.
Hey, it's Seth from Chattanooga. Just left. I'm almost home, away from the game.
Hey, that's our goal here, is to get people home in these wee small hours of the morning.
I'm disappointed. I got to say, the first two drives after we scored and then after we stopped them, that crowd was ready to become like one of the all-time great type of crowds. It felt like it was going to explode the rest of the game. I was getting the chills thinking about 2015 Oklahoma, maybe 2022 Alabama type level. It was a really good crowd in the very beginning, and then the fumble happened, so that's disappointing. I've this whole drive home, I've been thinking about Heupel's career, and I appreciate what he's done for my fandom. Right, most of my life we were down in the dumps, but I appreciate what he's done for the program. I just kept thinking, will we ever really get that 2022 magic again? And what's missing from that? And I keep thinking, when's the last complete game we had where we just took it to somebody and there was no doubt we were going to win? Was that 2022? It just feels like we haven't had a complete game where it was very confident that we were going to win throughout. And tonight it just felt very eerie in that stadium.
Mm-hmm.
The first half, I never felt like going to the halftime that we should have been up by 17, but we were down by 6. So it felt like Halloween, that's for sure.
Yeah, I said that earlier. Like a spooky, weird football game is what that was. Because it, like trick or treat, and it certainly wasn't a treat. And when you outscore or outgain somebody 4-1.5, and you out first down them 4-1, and you're converting 80% of your third downs, and you're losing a football game at halftime, you have to try to do that. Try to do that. Oklahoma had the ball like 10 minutes in the first half. How in the world are you losing that game? And it wasn't like they were big playing you either. They weren't big playing you on offense. You can see that every once in a while. But you do make a good point about the Heupel, the magic of several years ago. And that raised the bar here. That had people thinking, hey, we got the next Steve Spurrier. And, looking back on that, it's not fair. It's not a fair expectation on anybody to say that. And the game was going to adjust to him, and he's going to, he's adjusted back this year, and they've had some new wrinkles, and they've done a nice job with this quarterback. But tonight was just, it's ironic too, because it happens against his former program, and I know how super competitive that guy is, and this one's going to wear on him. Because his team,
I think ultimately, he needs to get some new blood in the program.
Yeah, I agree.
I really want to see him. I think Heupel's a top 10 to 15 coach, and we're all just complaining that he's not top 5 to 7. But I really don't want him to become our James Franklin. I think we'll know the next 2 seasons.
Yeah.
But I think everyone's right. I think we need. We had Alex Golesh in 2022. We knew how special he was.
Yep.
Obviously, right now doing so well with South Florida. I just feel like he needs. And he mentored Alex Golesh for 5, 6, 7 seasons before he got to UT with him. So I just think he needs to grab somebody that already has the experience, help him out to where he can be a head coach during the game and trust his offense to somebody.
I just, I don't know. I don't know if he does it. I don't know how that's going to, and I don't know if this guy is capable of letting go. Because here's the thing Golesh provided you that I think you haven't had, and we've talked about this, because I was poking around this week. I said, who's the bad cop right now on the staff? Poking around some people, and the answer I got was there isn't one. Not a bad guy. Alex Golesh was an MFer behind the scenes. He was unliked. So.
Oh, that's interesting. Anyways, I
appreciate
still
you.
love my balls. Looking forward to basketball season.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll be on Monday. After the game's over. Garza Law, Tennessee basketball overtime. Go ahead, Brian.
Is Gerard Mayo out there coaching anywhere?
No idea.
After getting fired by the Patriots, because that's a guy that you could bring in.
Matt, go ahead. Scream at him, Matt.
I mean, if he wants to come coach college, he's never done that before. I mean, our linebackers certainly need some help.
Back to the phones we go. It has been a ray of sunshine this evening. Hello and welcome into the next call. Really disappointing game. I get it. Oklahoma tonight, like Matt said, they just won the line of scrimmage, and they turned them into turnovers. Hi, welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, Tony. Quick, I'm going to keep this very succinct.
Sure.
As far as Heupel, I think the off season is going to kind of dictate where we can kind of feel where we're going as far as his long-term capacity at Tennessee. I think that, you said earlier in the show that, Venables isn't a complete coach. I think Heupel has shown that he could be a complete coach, but until he's cutthroat and he's willing to make changes beyond someone taking a job, like the fact that we're sitting here talking about, we hope MTSU takes Tim Banks, like that can't fly. That's not going to make us a better team, a better organization. We talk about coaching trees, but if he's not cutthroat and he's not going to sit there and try to make an improvement within the organization, then he's a coaching weed. Like he's gonna spout out a ton of guys, your Alex Golishes, your Jeff Levy's, that make their mark on the game. He's not going to be one of those. Another thing, I watched Heupel. My season tickets are in Y8, and I watched Heupel on the fumble. He was he was very upset with them not marking him out of bounds. But it's like he waited till they snapped the ball to try to call a timeout, and at that point, it's too late. I don't know if getting someone to get him, I don't know what the problem is, whether it's he needs someone on the mic to tell him, hey, take a timeout, or if he needs to go with his gut because he's got too many people in his ear trying to sit there and review the play, and see if the guy stepped out. I don't know where we go. I think Heupel can be that guy. I really do.
Yeah, he's got to let go of some stuff. See, to me, if you're going to get a guy in your ear, you have to welcome that. I brought that up to Watson Brown, right? And he gave me a surprising response because Watson's like Josh Heupel. He's an offensive innovator in his day. He called all his plays. He had an offensive coordinator, but he's the guy ultimately, they had a guy set it up in practice like this Halsley guy does. But ultimately, you watch Heupel during the game, he's communicating to that quarterback. He's got the play sheet over him like Andy Reid, one of those deals, and it's Heupel's show. So Watson told me, he said, Tony, when I was doing that, if somebody would have gotten on my channel, because these guys are off channels, and told me, hey, you need to go replay something, he said I would have told them to get out of my channel. Don't be screaming in my ear. So that's almost something you've got to ask for. And I don't know that this coach will. I don't know that he won't, but I don't know that he will, if you know what I mean.
No, I do. And like one other, and this is a small thing, and to me, this is gamemanship. Played college baseball is kind of my forte, is where, and, part of being on second base, I know that there was the storylines about Oklahoma with quote unquote sign stealing. I remember being in baseball, that was our job. If you're on second base, before they had the intercoms and the whatever, the wristbands, catcher gives signs and you try to pick up on those signs and give it.
Yep.
A part of that going fast offense, in order for us to go fast, you have to send signs. And so because some of those plays that Oklahoma had, it's they knew it was unnaturally fast. how quick they react. They knew what was coming. Like I watched. I've been doing this for over 30 years. I've watched like when Alabama was basically the Chicago Bears of college football. Oklahoma was getting in the backfield and reacting in ways on some of those plays that they're good and they recruit a lot of talent. They're not that good. But to me, that's gamemanship. I don't think that. I really do not think that we were as prepared for them as we thought we were, because you can't explain to me how we got. I think it was the first half. It might have been right after the half.
Yes,
they jumped off sides. Two guys. Two defensive linemen jumped, and the safety was crashing so hard. We had a third guy, and it was like a 3rd and 2 or a 3rd and 1. We were running the ball.
Yeah,
and it was a straight up run blitz. They knew exactly where it was going, and we just got lucky. They crashed, and they jumped off the clap. But yeah, I'll get off here and listen. To me, that's gamemanship. You got to switch it up. Like, I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you fix that problem if you're trying to run fast. But the signs, I don't know.
Hey, listen, somebody asked me about that earlier, and I appreciate your call. If I could steal your signs, I'm going to steal your signs. Now, I don't know whether Oklahoma's doing that. Matt, do you have a stance on that? Or an Eric Waddell who's joined the room?
It came out Burt Venables is the most known sign stealer in college football until Connor Stallions. He's been doing that for like 15 years. So it's well known. Kiffin even brought it up and made it public last week about it. I mean, yeah, it's well known that Venables or whoever he has under him, that's what they do, is steal signs. It's what happened in that 2015 game here in the second half. But no, they're the ones that do it the best.
And I don't have a problem with it. Do you? Kind of like he said, look, the Phillies lost a game at the Dodgers, and the Phillies determined that their relief pitcher was tipping his pitches and not hiding his grip. And you could see the guy giving signs from second base to the batter. He brought baseball up. To me, he calls it gamesmanship. I call it all's fair in love and war. If I figure you out, I don't have to tell you I've got you figured out over here. I have to exploit that.
And another thing that probably helped them, but again, it kind of goes back to the coaching deal where I think we might have got out schemed.
Yeah.
They played Ole Miss last week.
Yeah.
Very similar concepts that they run. So they basically have been repping against this type of offense for 2 weeks now. Mm-hmm. And they lost last week, obviously at home, but their defense was pretty good for the most part. And their linebackers are fine. But the callers got a really good point. They were so dialed in on a lot of plays. And just were in the right position and give them credit for making tackles because they did that extremely well.
Here's the thing I'm really disappointed in from a Tennessee perspective, and I'm just thinking about the way the game played out. I want to go back and rewatch it tomorrow like we all do, just to speak a little more intelligently about it. And that's the thing that you kind of get in trouble a little bit on a post-game deal. They did similar defensive concepts they do to everybody. Joey Aguilar acted like he's never seen it. The stuff with the safeties and confusing you before the snap, they do it to everybody. They did it last year to Nico. That's when Tennessee knew Nico couldn't play. But what's different this year is last year Tennessee had a back and an offensive line that they could run the ball and get out of the game alive. And tonight they have no running game. None. And Oklahoma lost their 2 best defenders. I hate to keep going back to this, but R. Mason Thomas played 1 series and 2 plays, basically. That's it. He runs that ball in for a touchdown. He's not seen again. And it's almost like, what was Josh Heupel? Those offensive coaches, what were they expecting Oklahoma to do? Because they did exactly what they do. Now, last year they had a quarterback not handle it because he was a freshman and he didn't know as much football as they thought. This guy tonight's 24 years old. That's my disappointment in the game. Now, I don't want the guy fired, okay? I'm not saying that. Like, some of you are freaking out, and it's okay. You're allowed to freak out. Pay a lot of money. Spend a lot of time on this. It's more than just something we do. It's a passion. I get all that. But I just wonder, how can you be and look that out of your depth when you're a really good offensive coach, and that's the strength of your football team? And, Matt, let's call this thing what it is. They turned Tennessee inside out tonight and took their lunch money. Even though the yardage says otherwise, Matt, in critical spots in that game, they turned Tennessee upside down and shook the lunch money right out of their pants. Did they not when it mattered?
I mean, I'm not going to go that far. They made some really key plays and forced some key turnovers for sure. But I mean, that you're talking about what Venables defenses do. They're known for, he designs blitzes for every game. Like they do stuff every game that in blitz packages that they haven't done before. It's just what they do, and it's really good. They're elite at it, and obviously we didn't handle it well at all, and our quarterback really struggled reading it. It felt like, I think it looked like he thought there were 11 guys in coverage on every time he dropped back, and he just never felt comfortable, and we just didn't have that running game to complement that or take some of the pressure off of him. So no, Oklahoma outcoached us, during the week and with their game plan, because we obviously struggled. We needed to. I mean, we had such a dominant, first 20, 25 minutes, and it just didn't show up on the scoreboard, and that's really where we lost the game.
Back to the phones we go, and then I'll get Eric's thoughts as Eric Waddell's joined the fray. But no one does it like Alumni Hall. Listen, it was dark mode. Alumni Hall was blowing and going leading up to this, as they will be for basketball season, as they will be for baseball season, as they will be for the holiday season that is right around the corner. And nobody, and I mean nobody, does it like Alumni Hall. The best and largest selection of Tennessee apparel for the whole family. All the great brand names like Nike and Champion and Columbia and Peter Millar. You can load up on everything that you need. All your tailgating necessities, plus with basketball season here, great stuff for the Vols, Lady Vols. Also, baseball got a huge commitment today. Baseball got the interim manager or head coach from the Florida Gators. They're going to stay right on top of the pecking order. This Elander guy is. Alumni Hall is the place to remember for all seasons. Download the Alumni Hall app. Click your account. It's going to tell you how much Hall cash you've earned. You get $10 in rewards every $150 you spend. AlumniHall.com online anywhere in the world. Great gift ideas. Then in Murfreesboro, Bristol, 3 locations in Knoxville, now open in Johnson City. Pop into Alumni Hall and get game ready. And tell them Tony B sent you. Let's go back to the phones at Alumni Hall. I thought the portion of the game when Tennessee got their lunch money taken from them is in that third quarter. And Oklahoma was, wow. After we took the lead, I don't know what they did. I don't know where that came from, but they smoked us and stepped on the gas. It was a weird game. We'll get Eric's thoughts on what he witnessed, as he was in both locker rooms as well. But let's go back to the phones. Hi, welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, Tony, can you hear me?
Go right ahead. Yes, I can.
Hey, Tony, it's Ian from Atlanta. First-time caller, long-time listener.
Thank you, Ian. It's an honor.
First question I got for you. What do you think about that play on fourth down there towards the end of the game? They go to number 3, who I believe is a true freshman tight end. And, I mean, that's basically for the season on some level, if playoffs are kind of your expectation. What do y'all make of that?
We talked about it a second ago. Their personnel grouping that they did, and they went big on that play, dictated that the play had to go to somebody. I guess Matt or Eric, they could have taken they could have put the kid inside in that formation. I guess you could have done that. but they decided not to. So it was strange. And it came after a timeout as well.
I mean, it's a first down catch. I mean, the guy's open and it's a catch. He just dropped it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad play
jumbo
design,
and sneak
obviously. He was open.
Because they've been stuffed on the run up the middle all night, Brian.
Yeah, Brian, you couldn't run the ball
We can't run the ball. We hadn't run the ball all night.
You'd have lost 4 yards, Brian, if you'd have run the ball there. They would have attacked you like white on rice, as we say in the trade. But go ahead to my caller. I'm sorry. We all talked at once there. Our bad.
No, you're good. And Tony, I got one more question. I just kind of want to hear the sort of council's response on this. Like, what is the expectation for this program? I mean, is it national championship contention? Is it playoff berth on a regular basis? And I don't mean that disrespectfully, because look, I'm a younger fan, and I've witnessed the Derek Dooley years, I've witnessed the Butch Jones years, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I get that this program has been in a really bad place for a really long time.
Yep.
But I think earlier in the week when I was listening kind of on the lunch hour, your normal spot, you talked about, I believe it was Florida's athletic director, like this idea that when you know, and you need to pull the trigger on a decision. And I'm not advocating for Heupel being fired at all, because I think he's done a lot of really positive things for this program. But, I mean, can he get us there? That's kind of my question. And then also, is our expectation to even get there?
Ken Heupel, when you say get us there, you mean like win a national championship?
Win a national championship, yeah. And I'm not saying that's the end-all, be-all, but as Tennessee fans, should we think that that's the end-all, be-all? I mean,
look, that's in the eye of the beholder. I don't tell anybody how to think, how to root, what expectations to have. They invest a lot. The program invests a lot of money in the sport. Has one of the better NIL programs, top 12 or so in college football. Has very expensive players on the roster, some of whom you're getting a lot out of. Some of whom, like this Carter kid, Boot Carter, you're getting nothing out of. Which is the case everywhere. There are people in the sport that are making it look easy, and it's not easy, but the guy at Indiana is making it look easy. Maybe that's because they're in an easier league to make it look easy. Expectations to me are, and when I was your age, I used to get all over Fulmer when he lost one game. And I'm not saying that, I've learned or I'm enlightened. I'm not saying that at all, because it's all in the way you want to look at it. If you're asking me, and I look at Tennessee and I look at the landscape, you get me to the playoffs in a 12-team playoff 3 out of 5 years, you're doing a very good job. If it goes to 16, you get in 4 out of 5 years, you're doing a very good job. Eventually, you get to the playoffs enough, eventually you'll win a couple games and get yourself to a national quarterfinal if it's 16, or a national semifinal under the current format. But, winning a national championship, I don't know if this current system, to me, Ohio State is 2 scores better than anybody that they go on the field with right now, and they're going to have injuries before the playoffs happen to beat them. So that's the way I look at it. Now, panel, guys, he asked for y'all's, for your opinion as well. Eric, say something. Eric Waddell. Ewan.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
I had muted myself. I apologize.
Fine. You're fine. Go for it.
There's the possibility that we're eventually going to have to ask the question, is being Mark Richt good enough at Tennessee? Mark Richt, to me, was a coach that's a Hall of Fame, a Hall of very good fame coach. I mean, in the college football world, he will end up in the Hall of Fame, I'm sure. But I'm just saying, he's not the elite coach. He's that very, very next level coach who's very good. We may end up having to ask the question, is it good enough for Heupel to be that level coach at Tennessee? And that's going to be a heated discussion, I think. It's at some point, unless he can find a way to get himself over the top. And it may be assistance, it may be just whatever. But I think that's going to be a discussion that's going to have to be had at some point. Not today. I wouldn't think at the end of next year. But kind of like Georgia had to go through this battle of the guy was really, really good for a really, really long time. But how much is enough of not being able to get to the top if you truly believe your program can get to over the top? And I think that Tennessee fans are going to have to judge Heupel eventually that way. And they're also going to have to judge their own program eventually that way.
Hey,
Do we
Ewart,
have the
that's
tools
a hell of a
to
lot
do
better
that?
than going 4-45 against Bama, Florida, and Georgia, though. I will say that.
Absolutely is.
That's right. That's right. And Matt, how do you answer the question? So Eric's got a good point. He
Kind
thinks,
of a Mick Cronin question. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
That was
Yeah,
selfish.
because
I'm
Mick
sorry.
Cronin, because Eric's a Cincinnati fan as well. That's where he's from. And Mick Cronin was a guy that Cincinnati said, we need to be competing for national championships here, and you can't win in the tournament. He goes to UCLA, and he goes to the Final Four. And was it wrong of them to get rid of Mick Cronin? I mean, in their eyes, no, but they aren't any closer to doing what they want to do. See, that's the problem when you move off somebody.
That's the problem.
You can find turds. There are a lot more turds out there than there are Josh Heupel. Some of you don't want to hear this, but you can do a whole hell of a lot worse. And there are people in this hiring cycle in this league that are going to do a lot worse than Josh Heupel. That's just the way it is. But Matt, how do you answer the question in terms of expectation as you think about it now that we've been eliminated for all intents and purposes in 2025?
The 12-team playoff, making it 2 out of every 5 years, is kind of my goal and expectation.
Say that's perfect for me. Everybody has.
And when he goes to 16, that probably goes to 3 out of every 5. But even then, you just get in it, about half the time, and I would think you'll a year or two you'll have a nice draw, or you'll actually be a really good team, and win a couple of games. So, but you've got the whole point is you need to get in it enough to where you're satisfied. But it's I don't know. There's no real right or wrong answer. I do think the Rick comparison's interesting. There's a lot of similarities there, especially with how he handles his coaching staff and things. But Mark Richt would have thrived in a playoff era. I think he wins a national title in a playoff era because he had a really talented team. And a lot of times they didn't always come together until the end of the season. But he had really talented teams. And I think Rick, if he had coached a decade in a playoff era, would be viewed much differently than he is now.
Brian, what's your
You're
what's your
very
answer?
possibly right. I think that's a very good point, Matt.
Brian, what's your answer to the caller's question in terms of expectation?
Well, I want to be in a playoff. I want to be in contention every year and have a chance going into November to make a playoff every year. That's my goal, and you're not going to make it every year.
Yeah.
But just be in the discussion. I mean, I think Tennessee's been in the discussion for a spot in the 12-team playoffs every week until maybe this coming up week. Since we had one the last 2 seasons, they've been right there in the mix for one.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd want. And yeah, Mark Richt he probably misses the playoffs probably less than 5 times if there's a 12-team playoff during his entire tenure.
And Brian wants us to play games after Christmas. He made a big deal about that last year.
And Jane Theory over here on YouTube gets a shout out. Jane says that's like staying with the same fat woman that yells at you for 40 years because you're afraid you could do worse. And Jane goes on to say, what kind of logic is that?
Well, Tony, I'll just chime in here and say we've seen a lot worse.
Yes. Thank you very little.
I'd say making a 12-team playoff wouldn't qualify.
And Tony and panel, I just want to say thank you guys for the response. I'll get off here and let somebody else chime in. And also wanted to note that my cousin, who you know is Juke, Tony, chimed in with the
the 4-45 stat over here. So
hey, what up, TB?
Hey,
real
Jukey,
quick
baby.
too, I will say
Good, dude,
one other
Jukey.
part of this too is
Yeah.
if you're beating Alabama's ass 45% of the time, I can live with that too.
And
That's
I
part
think,
of the expectation in my book.
and I think that's a great point because Alabama going forward remains on the schedule. The other teams don't. That's why, like, to me, the perfect ending to the Florida thing, and I hate to say this out loud, but they've terrorized us for 30 years. Do we really think we're going to go down there and beat them this year? I mean, I hope so. I hope so. But, yeah, I'm with you, Juki. Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you, my
Hey,
man.
good talking to you, bro.
Yeah, good talking to you. And to me, I watched Florida today. Florida's got a lot of I don't know how to say this other than just to say it. They got some meat on their bones still. They're pretty good. In fact, they're kind of what we are. It's going to be a hell.
You think everybody that plays Georgia is really good? They just end up losing.
What'd you think of today's Florida effort? Did you watch it?
I watched a lot of the first half. You had the interim coach bump. They had some stuff offensively. I think they caught Georgia with a lot of new stuff. They didn't really run a lot of Napier's just horrific offense stuff. So they kind of expanded that and played them tough. But that game's typically tough, and this Georgia team's just not going to pull away from anybody.
No, they're like us.
But they're going to do just enough to win.
Everybody's in the game.
As hell.
I hate them, and they get every damn call. It is. I don't even know why we have replay in college football. Everything called on the field stands, and Bill Lemonier is a sheep, and Matt Austin is a brainless dork. This guy's a moron. That's Ewad's boy. All right, let's go back to the phones. 865-200-5402. I want to remind you, if you're a contractor or a homeowner, you need to listen up. WeShipFloors.com is the manufacturer. Allen and family were at the game tonight. It was incredible seeing them yesterday over at Calhoun's on the river. But the prices, and Allen told me that folks are taking him up on this. They've got an incredible YouTube video of him taking the highest of high-end product in that field, in that space, and doing this with a piece of lead on it. And then they grab his product, and he does the exact same thing. And I mean, he's hitting it, and there's not a scratch on his. And that's why WeShipFloors.com has millions and millions of square feet. And for people that know, they do business all over the country. And what they do out of Johnson City is insane. You go to that website at WeShipFloors.com, no matter where you're listening in the world, you're going to get free shipping. You go to that website, they have a room visualizer. You drop any of the several hundred styles they have, 120 different floors. Drop them virtually into your room, and then get on there and order free samples and get a look at it. You will not be sorry. WeShipFloors.com. They're the manufacturer. WeShipFloors.com. Millions and millions of square feet in stock. I go back to our phones. And yeah, look, here's the thing about this season. The schedule's pretty easy. You know, by Matt's math, you had two pretty generous schedules. You made the playoff in one year. 500's not bad. We've had the 12-team playoff now 2 years, and you've made it 1 out of 2 years. I mean, do I think we're going to win a national championship here with Josh Heupel? Probably not. I mean, if you're asking me that. But who knows? Get into the playoffs, anything can happen. And he got in last year. Now, Dave likes to bring up the fact that he got just destroyed by Ohio. Ohio State ripped the absolute doors off of everybody they played. And we happened to be the home game. Well, I mean, you played in that game, and of course. I mean, they destroyed everybody. They beat that Oregon team like they were flat out mad at them. That Henderson guy's still running with the ball. And Eric, you hate Ohio State with every fiber of your being, But we weren't going to go beat them last year. Nobody was going to beat them last year. Right? Nobody. Who was going to beat them last year, Eric?
Nobody. And
thank you.
And to make it even worse, that Michigan loss gave them all the fire they needed.
Yes.
I never want to lose, but every once in a while losing actually helps you, propels you. And it did them. It was like lighting a rocket.
Because their own fan base jumped their collective ass. And they turned it inward. Kind of like Conzo Martin, when his guys saw that people here signed the Bruce Pearl petition, it pissed those guys off. That's how it works.
No, that's definitely true. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, the Conzo thing set that group on fire.
Yes, it did. Back to the phones. Jeffrey Stewart's asking, is Sean still in the hole? I haven't heard from Sean. I don't know. Sean was here, then he wasn't, but we couldn't hear him, so he'll go back and hear that tomorrow. I wasn't giving Sean the 10th Avenue freeze out. Let's put it that way. Hello and welcome into the next call on our TLD Logistics phone line. It's Garza Law, fifth quarter fan reaction. You're on the air. Hi.
Hey there.
Hi, you're on the air.
Tony, it's Dougie Fresh from Nashville.
Good to talk to you.
I will say, I feel like my spirits have been down since Tony V left Knoxville.
Tony was there tonight. Tony was at the game tonight.
I saw that. I saw that Tony was there at the game tonight, but for some reason I just could not shake that feeling that he has left us. But, yeah, we looked good against Kentucky last weekend, and tonight we just, offense couldn't get it together. I don't know what was going on. We had the whole stadium was lit up. Everybody was excited, and we just could not make it happen. And I don't know why. What do you think, Tony?
I just think you had a defense in front of you that was way better than any defense Tennessee's seen so far. The numbers say that. Obviously, you don't know how a game's going to go till you get on the field. But seeing is believing. I mean, they were so quick and so physical and they were the best unit on the field tonight by far. Our offense, their defense, our defense, their offense. They were easily the best unit on the field. They dominated that game tonight, I thought, especially when they had to. Coming up with the turnovers and everything else that went on.
Yeah. And Joey just didn't look like Joey football tonight.
No, and that's what they did. That's what they do to quarterbacks. They swallowed him tonight.
Yeah. There were too many turnovers, and we couldn't make it happen.
That's kind of the deal, right? And when you got to halftime and you had that huge advantage in terms of time of possession, yards gained, third down conversions, just everything, but you looked up and saw the turnover numbers, you knew, boy, we're going to have to play a nearly perfect game. And Tennessee almost got back in the thing. Took a lead temporarily, but almost got to the point. I'd have loved to have seen the game like Brian and Matt said earlier. If you get 2 scores up on that Oklahoma team early instead of turning that ball over, what happens then? The crowd gets into the game. That quarterback from Oklahoma is just a weird, screwy player who does crazy things on the field. It's a shame we couldn't put him in that spot because I think you might have seen a different result.
Yep, absolutely. And I wish we could have, when we recovered that fumble, we should have scored, and that could have turned everything over. Like the whole game could have been changed.
I agree with that.
It wasn't there tonight,
Nope.
But I wish it was.
Yeah, me too, because everything else was there. You had the atmosphere, you had the environment. I love those Oklahoma fans. Those are cool people. I hate seeing them win this game. I taunted them last night when we were playing music down at Calhoun's, something fierce, and they just kept getting right up and dancing to Rocky Top. And I told them, I said, we played knocking on heaven's door last night. I said, this is in honor of your playoff hopes before we played it. But your playoff hopes for tomorrow night, and little did I know that's where ours would be, because I'm afraid I'm not making it all about the playoffs. So I enjoy college football too much to make it all about the playoffs. But
how often of you trash talking opponent fans on Fridays actually winds up paying off and working?
Anything else for us to our caller?
Well, my thing is that almost like I don't even want to go to the playoffs with this team. You know, I'd rather go to a bowl and look good and end on a good note than go to the playoffs like we did last year and end just terribly. You know, we don't have a playoff team going right now.
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah, this was not going to be a playoff team. And so go to a bowl game. Brian wants to play Miami, right, Brian? Is that what you got your eyes on?
I want to play Miami after Christmas, like Dixie said.
After Christmas. Means everything to Brian, man. You like it.
He hammered that point home last year.
So great.
All Brian wants for Christmas is a late December bowl game.
Is a bowl game after Christmas.
Yep. Well, Tony, thank you for what you do. We appreciate you. And, hey, go Vols anyway.
Go Vols to you. Thank you. Always. I'd rather be here in defeat than in Florida's fan base in victory any day of the week, or hanging out with those Georgia losers. But those Oklahoma people, Matt, being around them this weekend, they are good folks. They really are. They're a nice addition to the league. That's going to be a really kind of a good thing for the league.
I think so, yeah. Not as many of them here this time around as 10 years ago, but they're really don't feel like SEC fans.
No.
They're way too nice.
Yeah, they are. I wonder if they
haven't been seasoned and they haven't had late November trips to Lexington or gone down to the swamp when it's nasty before.
I wonder if they grow teeth as we go along, because there were some fun-loving people last night, and we had people up there singing. I'm telling you, Tennessee fans and Oklahoma fans singing Rocky Top. It was pretty surreal. But let's go back to the phones at 865-200-5402 on a night where the Vols come up short. You know what really urinates me off? We had a 3-team parlay today over at VIP Play, and you know what kept the parlay from hitting? Our game. Check this out. How's this for a great suggested parlay from me? This went live today over at VIP Play. We do it each week. But this was my Basilio Best Play SEC 3-pack picks. Florida plus 7.5. That's a roll job right there. That's an easy win. Not easy. I guess Georgia laid on the ground there at the 1-yard line at the end of the game. Thank you very little. But, hey, a win's a win. Kentucky plus 10.5 with Auburn that's the easiest money of all time. And then the Vols at minus 2.5. I thought when we scored in the third quarter, hey, that's going to get home. We're going to cash some tickets. But I guess that's why they call it gambling. And I guess that's why they call it the Blues. But you can go claim your VIP Play welcome bonus right now. Your first bet of $20, you get $100 in bonus bets instantly. The promo code and the phrase that pays is TNTony. Live always, 200-plus leagues or something going on around the world for you to bet on. Numerous bet types, props, options. And Brian Hartman has his Jags tomorrow, one of his power play picks as well. But VIP Play where everybody gets treated like a VIP. And, Bri, who do the Jags have tomorrow? And, by the way, gambling problem, 800-889-9789. 21 and over, located in the state of Tennessee to place a bet. Who do the Jags have, Bri, later today?
They got the Vegas Raiders.
Just an unserious organization on so many levels. It's unbelievable, Andy. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Tony, you should have picked the over for the game.
There you go. The over was the play. Who knew?
If you pick the over, you know if our defense doesn't stop them, our offense will at least give them some points.
There you go. The over was a good play in the game. I agree with that.
Actually, in the VIP play wheel here, so Heflin, he's a guy I know.
Nice.
Played some baseball with growing up.
Right, okay.
But if you remember Heflin back, I don't know how long ago this was, but Heflin said that Joe Aguilar is probably going to win you some games, but he's also probably going to lose you a game.
Yes, he did say that.
And I think tonight was that game.
I think that's a fair way of looking at Joey, too. I mean, if you look at his career, a guy that's loose with the ball, and he's been loose with his ball throughout his career, eventually is going to have a game where he chunks a few up, and they're not, prayers that are thrown up that are unanswered, so to speak. And he's done a really nice job here. He really has. He's done a really nice job. But, Matt, that's a fair thing to say about a guy like Joey, right? I mean, eventually, guys like that can throw you into games. They can throw you out of them.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. That's a good way of putting it.
And it's okay.
Yeah, we all knew he wasn't going to be some some superstar guy, but he's been much better than I think most of us anticipated.
Yeah, what he did is he breathed life into our season. Is what he did.
I think that's exactly right. I think that the thing that makes like most fans mad and me mad myself is just you watch the games, and whenever you watch them, it's just a point of where the way that we have lost in the games that we have lost is what makes me mad. Not a point of, I'm very impressed with how he's been. I'm very impressed with how everything's going. And I'm very impressed with, I'm honestly more impressed with how that we have been, because I didn't think that we would be this good, but I think that us being this good has made fans more mad. And I'd like your guys' opinions on that, because I think going into the season, we thought the defense was going to be much better than what it was. We thought that the offense was going to struggle, and then it's kind of been a complete reverse on all of that. And then we got a Joey that's throwing for, I think at the first of the year listening to you guys, we were like, hey, Nico threw for 19 touchdowns last year. How long do you think that it would take for Joey to throw for 19? And he did. I don't know where he's at now, but, he's there. And so I am interested in just that portion of where, for me, it's just the way that we've lost. Like, I guess Georgia, if you kick a field goal, you win.
Oh, it's crazy.
Against Alabama, you just don't do the stupid play at the end of the game. I mean, you're at Alabama, but I mean, the 14-point swing is too much to overcome. And then tonight, you have 3 turnovers. They have less than 100 yards in offense, and you've got 250 in the first half.
Yep.
And you're down going into the second half. And I think that's what makes everybody so mad. That's what makes me so mad, is just you don't know what you're getting.
The thing that's really, and I appreciate the call, the thing that's really frustrating about the season is after the Georgia game, you kind of went, oh my gosh, we can play with the top of college football. Because at that point, you thought, that's Georgia. But then as you've watched Georgia go along this year, it's pissing me off that they only have one loss. Because they truly have deserved, like Matt said earlier, and this is a stupid take by me, but they've deserved to lose just about every game they've played. But they keep winning all of them. And in second thought, they're not an elite team, and we never were. But you do bring up a great point. That game, Matt, really raised our expectation as a fan base, didn't it? It really did.
Yeah, and that's really the game that Aguilar deserved to be a winning quarterback.
That's right. That's right.
That's what, and that could have, it kind of changes the total trajectory of your season.
Yep.
It gives you kind of a game up on making the playoffs, because you would have had that win, and would be such a big win. And you just didn't take advantage and couldn't make a kick or get a defensive stop late.
And Ewad, one thing that we
One
always
that's going
talk
to be
about.
frustrating.
Well, it is frustrating because one thing that we always talk about around here, E, is that the best kind of success is unexpected success. It would have been one thing for Nico to be lights out golden last year, all year. Come back this year, and you have a season, and it plays out the way it did. And then everybody's like really pissed off. But that's not what happened. Nico leaves in May. He leaves us for dead. The rest of college football is kind of laughing at the Vols because they got drug into this by a nutty father and the whole thing. Then you fast forward. They make this deal. We have a shotgun wedding with a guy. And it ends up being a really good marriage. And it looks like it's going to have a Disney-type ending. You got a field goal kicker going out there at the end of a game to make a chip shot field goal that you just got to make. But he doesn't make it. But even in that loss, we're sitting here on the air going, you know what? We got something here. Now, I made people mad because I kept saying, I don't know this team's making the playoffs. And it was pissing everybody off. And I'm not here to tell you I was right, but I just never felt it. But I saw how other people did feel it. And I get it. Because a team had, like, against Georgia, team had a real spirit about it. And it felt like, oh my gosh, man, we just got in the ring with a real heavyweight and went toe-to-toe with them and should have won the game. The thing I think now, though, is I think that Georgia is a light heavyweight, and I don't know that we're a heavyweight. I don't think Georgia's as good as we thought they were, and I know we're not as good as we thought we were a month and a half or so ago, if that makes any sense at all. That's kind of as I piece this thing together, but it got everybody's hopes up, and now everybody's mad at the head coach. And I get it. He's making $10 million a year. Look, he's not on a mercy mission to Calcutta. He's a big boy. He can take the criticism, all that stuff. I'm not telling anybody how to think. I'm just telling you because I think he's far from perfect, and I think if he doesn't get help, he'll be looking for work like all these guys are. That's how all these jobs go. You better self-evaluate. You better stay ahead of the curve because you got 10 teams in this league that think they're making the playoffs. 10 expect to get there. Of course, one of them lost to Kentucky today. A couple of them can't get out of their own way. Florida can't get out of their own way. But there are 10 of them right now. But, Eric, how about that? The fact that hope out of nowhere sort of raised the expectation and it kind of came crashing down. Maybe that's why fans are so angry.
I think that you're probably right because you look at the realistic expectations of this team before the season.
Yeah.
And I think this Tennessee team is still far exceeding those expectations. This is not a bad football team. It's only sin. It's I'm going to throw something out to you. It's the Casey Clausen sin. It's not that he wasn't a fantastic quarterback or a very good quarterback, at least. He just wasn't Peyton Manning. And so people jumped all over him, and they hope the Iceman thing put some people off. But I look at this year's team. We have a very good football team. We just don't have an elite football team, and we convinced ourselves. And by the way, I'm guilty of this myself. That maybe we were. We're just a very good football team. I mean, Oklahoma didn't hammer us tonight. They beat us. They didn't hammer us. Georgia didn't hammer us. They beat us, but they sure didn't hammer us. You're right. It's the expectation thing. The expectations changed. Maybe unrealistically. Maybe not. But yeah, it was just so close, and I think that I still think we have a very good football team. It's just it's not going to end to where we think it is going to. We thought it might end.
You say that, but they haven't beaten a good team yet. Do you still believe that?
I still believe that. I feel like and I always hate it when other fan bases bring this up, okay? But our losses, other than Alabama, we played number 18 Oklahoma, who's going to jump up into the top 15, and I still feel like if we played them again, we could beat them. I'm not saying we'd be the favorite, but I think all these teams, I think we could beat them.
All these teams lay together, Eric. That is the other frustrating thing about the league. The other frustrating thing about the league is there are several fan bases out there going, I'm 1 or 2 plays away.
Yeah.
Because that is what this league is right now. And it's only going to get worse.
The bottom of the league, to be honest, many of those teams could finish middle of the pack in some other conferences, major Power 4 conferences.
Absolutely,
like
Brian.
Auburn has a win over Baylor.
Absolutely, Brian.
And Mississippi State's beating Arizona State.
And that is the point. Let's go back to the phones. By the way, if you've been wanting to get through, 865-200-5402 is the numero uno, numero dos. But, and so, look, the bottom line is that it's all in the eye of the beholder, and I'm not here telling anybody how to think. I just know that we were left for dead in May. Joey Aguilar was not good tonight, and he threw a terrible interception against Alabama. And he's a really game, fun, good college quarterback is what he is. And he put himself on the line tonight. He took a nasty hit around midfield, got up, and then ran for a first down and kind of ran out of bounds. I didn't think he knew where he was. He got hammered. But he got out of bounds. He competes. He plays hard. He plays the right way. It's hard for me to look at him and go, man, you piss me off. Because at the end of the day, anything that we got out of him this year was going to be a bonus. I'm more mad at the coach and what they did tonight because they knew what Oklahoma was going to do to them. And they just sort of let it happen again. And I say that, and to be fair, Oklahoma does it to a lot of people. But let's go back to the phones. And maybe the difference last week is that the Chambliss guy has the legs and the ability just to kind of keep a player or two alive, whereas Joey doesn't. But if you want to get in, 865-200-5402. And Nega Dave is still in our room, Matt. He said winners win and losers lose, Tony. What do you got to say to Nega Dave, Matt?
That's usually pretty fair. That's how it usually shakes out.
Thank you, Dave.
Heupel's won a whole lot more than he's lost.
That's right, Nega Dave. What's that mean?
I'm sure Nega Dave had a very, very unique phone call that wasn't totally unexpected.
Let's just say he played the hits.
Did he play the hits?
Oh, he played the hits, man. In fact, he played his number one record twice. I felt like I was at an old 1950 sock hop. And it was like Bill Haley and the Comets singing Rock Around the Clock. Let's get our next call in. Nega Dave, winners win, losers lose, and your phone call tonight was a real loser, not a winner. But some could call you a winner, Nega Dave. Hello and welcome into our next call. You're on the air. Hi.
Hey, Tony. Well, you've almost got me home to Jonesboro, and you got me an extra hour in the bargain. So thanks.
Thank you.
It's we turned the clock back while we were bid talking an hour.
So what time is it right now?
It is officially it's 1:42.
But it's really 2:42 in the morning.
2:42 for our bodies, but we turned the clock back while we did talking.
No wonder I'm feeling woozy and dizzy all of a sudden.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
What? Yeah. Anyway, I'm glad you kind of spoke up for Joey there. He had a bad second quarter for sure, but I'm thinking if he doesn't make some of those throws for touchdowns, we get blown out tonight. We get ground to dust. He gave us a chance. Now he threw 2 bad interceptions, and I don't know what happened to him on that fumble. That was far away from me. But if for some reason, I don't think he's going to be able to have the option to come back next year, but I'd take him. Would you?
He's not going to have the option to come back. Obviously, you would want a veteran quarterback in your system who's proven that he could help you win games, and he certainly has done that. And you would certainly love to have a veteran presence who's a team-first kid, as he's been, to help shepherd these 2 young quarterbacks along, because the two, George McIntyre's going to fight it out in the spring with the true freshman. And it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. And the Merklinger guy, I think will go on and find another place to play if I had to guess.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be with us next year. And we're going to have a new quarterback, and, it's going to be the same sort of like juggling act that we just can't seem to get all phases of our game in sync. And I think one thing that's the frustrating thing is that, people may have been a little bit more resigned to it if the quarterback was not that good, and if the receivers didn't turn out to be, better than we kind of thought they would be, a lot better really. And now that our defense is just not good, that's what's frustrating everybody. We just cannot seem to get. It's like, I don't know, Tennessee football it's like a calliope. Those instruments, just everything's out of sync. But it's just I don't know. I'm rambling. It's
you know what it is? Well, it's 3:00 in the morning. You know what it is? It's transfer portal era football, man. It's what it is. Every team's incomplete. Alabama's got an incomplete team. Georgia, by Georgia standards of the past several years, has an incomplete team. The only complete team I see in college football hasn't been tested. That's Ohio State. Ohio State played what they thought was going to be a signature game today against Penn State, and it was kind of a joke. Obviously, we knew several weeks ago the air was out of that deal, but, they look to me to be a complete team. But every other team, Oklahoma, do they look a complete team to you? They have a great defense and no offense, but they got unbelievable players on defense. Unbelievable.
But what they did demonstrate was the old maxim: run the ball, stop the run.
Yep, that's right.
I kept looking up at the jumbotron. I said, I cannot believe we're behind with these stats, and then our running figure was stuck at 45 for most of the game.
That's right.
It was that's what it was. Run the ball, stop the run, and that the longer you play, the more that's going to win out. And we got beat.
Amen to that, my brother. Amen to that. And listen, I appreciate you. Thanks for being there, man.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you. He's up in that area where my friends at Performance Medicine grew their dream. The great Dr. Tom Rogers. Take control of your wellness. Personalized health solutions that fit your life. We want you first. That's how it works at Performance Medicine. Focus on comprehensive, proactive solutions, empowering you to achieve optimal health on your terms. If you're feeling drained of energy, can help you. Struggling with your weight goals can help you. You want radiant skin, can help you. Hoping for a family can help you. Say goodbye to that cookie cutter, needless procedures and all those insurance hurdles. Performance Medicine's changing all that. Go to their YouTube channel, see more over at Performance Medicine on YouTube, and get a sense for how they do what they do. And give them a shot and see what I'm talking about. 865-200-5402. I guess we've taken the last call. We don't have any other calls. So last call here for calls. And then we'll head to the house. Call it a good night and a good morning. Anybody else have anything they'd care to add here on the way out?
Well, the 10-win season's still alive, Tone.
There you go. Yep.
You can finish with the same records you did last year if you went out. So.
Yep. All these games matter to me. Every time you step on the field, it matters to me. This whole concept of, and this is what's changed about the sport. You got 10 teams in this league that all think they're making the playoffs. And your concern is going to be when those hopes end, does your team unplug? Because you're in the transfer portal era. Hey, Matt, how much Boo Carter did we see tonight? I don't know if I had a Boo Carter.
He didn't play. He didn't play on defense at all.
Okay, thank you.
He was out there for just punts only, and of course he muffed one of those. No, this is the first game he didn't play on defense all year.
You think that's injury deal, coach's decision? What do you think?
Probably a little both. Probably 80-20 coach's decision.
Do you think
he can give the same effort on the sidelines as he did on that touchdown against Kentucky?
I get.
You can jog up and down the sidelines all game.
Yeah, I get the sense that's what that's a conclusion they've come to. That's an interesting. I wonder if they had a do-over.
Yes, they would have let him go because he hadn't helped you at all, and he's probably been a distraction more than anything else. See, I don't think you have to worry about this team unplugging.
No, I don't either.
I think you've got enough good leadership. You've got, especially with Aguilar there, this team's not going to unplug. Well, I think there are plenty of teams that do. Obviously, Auburn's kind of done that. Kentucky's obviously done that. South Carolina's sort of done that. Clemson obviously did that early, and Dabo freaking out today was hilarious.
Tell me about it. I didn't see that. I didn't. He
went off on his defense. Like he was over there yelling at him. Like it was as fiery as I've ever seen him. He must really be feeling something. I don't know what it was. He was pissed off, yelling. It is hilarious. I'd love to know what he said.
I know people in the industry, Matt, that swear that this is it for Dabo. That they're going to let him go, or he's going to walk away. Which is very interesting.
He's not built for this era. He's choosing not to compete in this era by not attacking the portal.
Yeah, he got a couple guys out of it.
By doing it by choice.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a really strange thing. He's kind of, do you, that culture thing there was real for a time, and I still think some of it is true and still there.
Yeah,
but you can't win at the high level that fan base expects now without doing that. And especially when you keep all those coaches, like his assistants that's a very below average coaching staff that he's got around him.
And that's the thing.
All the Fulmer and Tennessee comparisons with Clemson continue to play out in real time.
He's had good assistants that other teams have kind of picked up in Venables, and he just hasn't got on. And it's hard to keep good assistants and keep hiring good assistants. Eventually, that's going to just run out on you.
How about Tony Smelliot out there? He's got Virginia. What? They got one loss and undefeated in their league. I mean, what in the world are we doing?
Despite losing to a league opponent early in the season.
Yeah. I mean, what a ridiculous thing,
man. Georgia Tech sure laid an egg tonight.
Yeah.
And then obviously Cristobal down there and
at
SMU.
Gosh.
That was
Hold
impressive.
my beer, baby. Hold my beer. See, that's another example, right? That's a program that has spent on par with the big spenders in the sport and have lost 2 games in the ACC. And I don't know that they're done yet. I don't know that they're done losing. We were saying, are they going to get to the ACC championship game? Let me help you. No, not now.
Did you see the penalty they committed that kept the game alive for SMU on defense?
That was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was a brutal personal foul. Now that's a team that could check out.
Because when your culture is totally transactional, you can check out. That's
a tough thing about this era.
That's exactly right.
It leads to teams just folding the tent.
Yep.
It's
can't be good for your sport.
You can say what you can say about the old way.
Yeah.
But if you're connected to a place for 3 or 4 years, you're a lot less likely to quit.
Yep.
Or fold the tent.
Yep. I wonder if Tennessee, and I'm not going to put words in anybody's mouth. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so when you hear this, just know that I'm saying this 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm exhausted. But I wonder if Tennessee looked at the film last week of that kid Matt and said, you know what, he got 1 foot out the door because he ain't even trying, which is what several callers that were in Lexington said about Boot Carter's play last week. And I don't mean to make it about him, because certainly it's not about him. But he's I don't know if he's a poster child, but he's at least an exhibit for this this era right now.
He's not even trying to return punts.
You're right.
Just glad if he doesn't fumble one.
And Brian, they're paying him, really paying him, real money. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of nuts. So that was a very interesting little sidebar back in the summer. So I don't know. We got some real negavols in this YouTube thing tonight. Goodness gracious. You talk about that old saying of misery loving company. Again,
it was a high variance game tonight, and you turned it over 3 times in 30 minutes to a team that had forced 4 turnovers all season.
Yeah, you deserve to lose.
And they even scored a defensive touchdown off of one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's, and they kicked 3 50-yard plus field goals that barely crossed the crossbar, all 3 of them.
And that kid's confidence on that last one is through the damn roof. And Matt,
this one's going to sting me for a while.
Lay it on me. Why?
Did you say Matt or me?
No, go for it. Tell me why.
Hang on a second. Sorry, my earphones died, so this is going to unfortunately be speakerphone for just a second. It just, you win this game, and you very real have an opportunity to keep fighting for, the top end goals that, maybe weren't realistic to begin with, but, playoff, SEC championship, those are still at least on the table. And I feel like this is a game that we could have won based on the first half, where this team completely dominated play, and you know what the score was at halftime. There's no way that should have been, but it was. You end up losing the game, and your top-end goals are gone. Not that good things can't happen, not that there's not stuff to play for, but that's going to sting me for a long time. If I thought Oklahoma was significantly better than we were, I wouldn't feel that way. But I just don't. And that's no disrespect to them. I just don't think, I just think if we play this game next Saturday, we'd have a very good chance to win the game. And everything would still be on the table. And now the table is probably cleaned.
Back to the phones we go. Let's get our next call in. TLD
Sorry for the
Logistics phone
depressing
lines.
ring there, but
No, it is what it is, man. Hi, you're on the air. Welcome in.
Hey, Tony.
Yo.
So, I'm a younger fan, right?
Yep.
And I just wanted to speak out about something because this is, like, a lot of something that I hear about with people my age especially. Even when you go to a bowl game, that is still a good football season. There's a ton of teams out there, their fan bases would love to go to a bowl game. Like, there's so many people my age and maybe even a little bit older that thinks that if we don't go to a playoff game, we just suck. We're terrible. Like, we still have a really good football team. I don't think people understand, like, how much work it actually takes to get to a bowl game, you know?
Well, to your point, this is not the Tennessee Titans. This is not like some laughingstock, garbage, unserious organization. These guys were right on the field with Alabama. These guys were a missed kick away from Georgia. And tonight, you know, just like Matt said, you're not turning the ball over 3 times against an SEC team that's decent and living to tell about it. But it doesn't mean you suck or you're terrible or Heupel's a loser. You know, all this negative stuff. And negative is fine. He's over here at 3 o'clock in the morning telling me that, you know, how many points? 44, 34, 31, 37, 33 giving up in SEC games. Okay, Dave, fine. Hey, Dave, we gave up 33 tonight, but 7 of them were on offense.
Yeah, and it's like,
you know,
another thing, too.
Yeah.
I'm a younger fan, so I've obviously not seen all the terrible stuff, but I watched throughout the end of Butch's career and all of Jeremy Pruitt's career. So, like, I know what it's like to be bad. I don't understand why these people are out here calling for Heupel's job. Don't get me wrong, he's not been perfect, but it's nothing to fire him over. Like, that's so stupid. These people are either new fans or they've forgot what it's been like to suck. Because I would much rather be in this position now than, you know, how he was in 2020, winning, I think it was 3 games or something like that.
No question. And next year, look, this is going to be, and we still have a good chunk of the year left, but that 2026 thing is going to be really fascinating because that schedule gets harder, and so Tennessee's going to have to up their game, but they're not alone. Because for the first time in history, you're playing a 9-game SEC schedule in this league that's now a super league, and we haven't seen anything like it. Nobody's seen anything like it.
Yeah, that'll be interesting for
It's
sure. I'm excited for that.
Oh, it's going to be a great sport, man. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, I'll hop off here, Tony. I just wanted to call in and
thank you, brother.
say
I love
we're
it.
still a great football team, and go Vols.
Thank you. Go Vols, back to you. And I think that's a great message. Because the era, like, people were telling me, Eric, that last year, because you lost to Ohio State, that was like not a very good season. I'm going, you won 10 games. It was a damn good season. That's always been a damn good season. You win 10 games, that's always a damn good season.
Sucks about the damn playoffs. It's all about the damn playoffs, and rivalries and big wins don't matter anymore. But you guys got your expanded playoffs, so.
That's that damn Bino clown.
God, it sucks.
He's the one that pulled the table on it.
We beat Alabama and Florida and Oklahoma last year, and we got blown out by the national champion, and we act like it's the worst. We had a terrible season.
Worst, yeah. Really
it's stupid.
It's really dumb.
The playoffs are just,
Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
And it's just we got the crap draw.
Absolutely.
Yes. God, I'd rather have like 8 different national champions every year than the damn playoffs.
Garza Law, 5th quarter fan reaction. Hi.
Hey, Tony, this is Doug from Chattanooga.
Hey, welcome in, Chattanooga.
Hey, 2 things can be true at the same time.
Yes, sir.
So, Heupel's not going anywhere, and quite frankly, I don't want him to go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what we could do any differently with a coach, but he he's not able to manage a game. And, we keep watching this over and over again. And it's just these bizarre decisions. You got less than 3 minutes to go in the game, and we squandered it away and then get a timeout.
That was odd, man.
It's happened every game this year.
Oh,
Listen, I loved playing quarterback. When I was a kid, that's what I always wanted to do. That's what I always wanted to be. I just wasn't good enough to be a quarterback at the D1 level. And that's just a fact of life. And some people were able to process a game, and some people aren't. And we just keep seeing the same story over, and I don't know what we do about it because, like I said, we're not going to fire the guy and then.
So you don't think
move on
you're
to
saying
another disaster?
So you don't think Heupel, at the highest level, processes the game quickly enough to call plays and to do everything you need to do? That's kind of what you've settled on right now, because he's having a bad year with the headset on. There's no doubt. He's just having one of those years. It just looks to me like, because I think he's very good generally, but he's having one of those years where he's just a little out of sync or a little out of step, or I don't know what they were trying to do before the 2-minute warning tonight. Like Matt said, first of all, you've got to act there with some urgency. And they're it's like they're semi-huddling, and then they're running and they're waiting, and Kirk Herbstreit on television screaming, what are they doing? Like, they're down 2 scores here.
Got a quarterback you don't trust and you don't feel comfortable with.
Well, but you got to play with what you have. And the nonsense about Aguilar, I mean, the guy's done a tremendous job.
Yep.
He's come into a brand new system. And nationally, people are talking about him as one of the best quarterbacks in college. I mean, he had some bad throws today or tonight.
Yeah, he had a stinker game.
That happens.
Yes,
you got to get over it. What you can't get over is you got to score twice, and you've got 3.5 minutes with the ball, and you waste 1.5 minutes and a timeout. And that's not Aguilar's fault. Aguilar's got a microphone or a speaker in his helmet. He's not the one calling those plays. He's waiting on stuff. And my goodness, it's fourth down. Well, in football, whether you're playing pee-wee football, middle school, high school, whatever, you've got roughly 40 seconds to get your players off the field, on the field, and call a play. Well, when the game's on the line, you speed that a little bit. You don't fall apart, and that's what happened tonight. And that's given me a signal that when the game's on the line, it gets a little too big. And at that point, you got to have someone who's not worried about what the play's going to be. He's worried about what the game's going to do. And I think Heupel's got a great offensive mind, but how many times have we seen it this year where Mississippi State, we did it. We did it in Arkansas. We did it in Georgia. We did it in Alabama. I mean, this is happening over and over. And so, I'm getting a little high-pitched here because we're not going to fire him, and I don't want to fire him. So
I'd like to help him. I wish somebody would go to him and help him and say, man, you can't do all this. This is not good. Look at your season you just had. You got to give something up, man. Are you an offensive coordinator? Are you a head coach? You're not doing it at a high enough level, and because that is going to get him. He's got to get better people around him, obviously.
But he's not. He doesn't have the people around him.
I know that
right now.
I understand
and he won't act on that weakness. He won't take control. He won't take away control, and he won't move away. And again, this gets into this management.
Yeah.
Hey, you're my buddy, you're my friend, but you ain't right for this job.
Yeah, and eventually, if you do that and you keep your friends around you, eventually you'll get got. That's how all these deals work. But I'm open-minded to the fact that I think the guy's worth salvaging, and I think he's done a nice job to this point. But we're getting ready to get into a different – when you get into this 9-game thing, this is going to be a kill or be killed thing. We've never seen anything like what's getting ready to happen here in SEC football because everybody expects to get to the playoffs. Every athletic director, this Danny White guy, he ain't going to charge you less for tickets next year. You know what I mean? Like, he's just not. We've seen this guy's act. This guy doesn't believe in saving people money. He believes in pulling every dollar out of your pocket that he possibly can for putting a team on the field. And he's going to catch it. Trust me. From these big money people and from everybody.
Tony, I don't think the big money people are going to complain. They might complain, but they're smart enough. This fiasco in college football right now is just full of a bunch of overpaid gym coaches.
Yeah, it's true.
And there are very few out there, and as much as I dislike Kirby, as much as I dislike Nick Saban, there's just a few of those guys. And you think about it, those guys aren't offensive and defensive coordinators and head coaches. They're head coaches.
Yep.
And, I can talk bad about them, and I do quite a bit. But they're showing results. And I was saying it, and I bet you guys were saying it, when Georgia was down late in that game, and all we're doing is we're at the games, the Tennessee game, so we're listening.
Yeah.
And I'm telling everyone around us, Georgia's going to come back and win this game. I mean, there was a full expectation, and they did.
Well, they got some help from the Zebras, which is what and I appreciate the call. Have you guys seen that catch that they did not call a catch?
Yes.
Matt, the only reason they don't call that a catch is because it wasn't a catch on the field.
Because Kirby Smart told him it wasn't a catch.
It is bordering on sports entertainment. It's like watching Negative
They play Texas in 2 weeks.
What happens?
Two teams that have a combined 3 losses and should have about 6.
Yep.
But again, those are 2 of the most talented teams in the country, and they find ways to win. But Sarkisian's got the same issues that Heupel does. I mean, he's not been able to coach games. They're awful in the red zone. Awful. Their offense is just really bad this year. It's not a well-coached team at all.
Yep.
And he has too much on his plate too. And it's shown. Now they were really good today, and just out-talented Vandy. And Vandy decided not to tackle for 3 quarters, but Texas sure did a great job closing that game out, didn't they? Jesus.
What in the world, man?
And they were up 24, and at one point, Vandy had a 4th and 19 at their own 1-yard line.
And they let them have it.
They scored like 3 plays later.
Matt, they let them have it. They dropped like everybody back to like midfield. Just let them have it.
I'm not sure they even had 8 defenders on the field to drop back, it looked like. I mean, those guys, they had 3 guys open on every play. That was incredible.
Just like, okay, we're going to let you score. It's kind of like what Oklahoma's coach did tonight, up 2 scores. Yeah, why don't you guys just drive the length of field?
Here, we'll throw this slant into a tight window where it can get tipped up.
Yeah, a guy that can't make a decision, we'll let him throw his tight slant Doesn't throw an accurate ball. I mean, what are these people doing? You know? And Texas is begging. Mississippi State's such a bunch of losers. And yet they turned around and won today. College football is just so great. So great. But, hey, still a lot of season left. That's good news and bad news here. It's good news to me. Might be bad news. I don't know.
We get more of these. We get a few more of these.
Yep. Any final thoughts, boys? I'm getting ready to go to sleep. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thought the dark mode stuff, the pregame stuff was all really cool. Had a chance there early to really make that matter and affect the game. And you know, I think if you had gotten up 2 scores and you make that Oklahoma offense press a little bit, you probably generate a couple of turnovers on your end. But you know, unfortunately, they kind of found a way to beat you in your building, which is what you did last year in Norman. So obviously disappointed, and nobody's more disappointed than Heupel, I'm sure. And a couple of his coaches on his staff are former. Hey, by the way, Tone, can you find out what Seth Luttrell does? Because it's really odd that he's up there in the press box with the coaches, but he doesn't have a headset on. Like, he's not involved in any of the game day stuff. I just think that's really odd. Because that's the guy that could actually help with some of the game management stuff with Heupel, like in-game, because he's a former head coach and a guy that Heupel's known for, since they played together. And he's got like 8 years of head coaching experience, but he doesn't even have a headset. Literally, everybody on the damn sidelines has headsets now, but that guy doesn't. I just think that's really strange.
What do you think that's about?
I don't know. He's up there. He obviously interacts with like Halsley and the other coaches up there, but he like stands behind them, and again, like no headset, and so he's not involved in any of that stuff. I just don't know what he's doing. I'm not saying that like it's some conspiracy. I'm just
no. That's right.
What the guy's actually doing on game? Like, he's not doing anything on game days.
Because he was the OC last year
at Oklahoma.
Right? And he was supposed to come in here and be like the heavy, because he's known as being a little bit of a horse's rear end as well.
Yeah. Now maybe he is that during the week, but it's just odd. He's kind of detached from everything on game days.
Let me check on him. And
I've been meaning to ask you that off air, but
it's
we're
good.
kind of a little bit loose here. It's 3 a.m.
Yeah, I'll make a few phone calls and see what.
I just be curious. It's probably nothing. I just think it's very odd every time they've shown him. Well, he just looks really out of place up there. Like he's like an assistant to those guys.
And the kicker from Memphis, this is before you guys got in here, but the kid that really hammered the ball for Memphis was that Goskowski guy. Who in warm-ups was hammering everything, and he ended up displacing not Vanderjagt. What was the kicker for the Patriots for all those years?
Vinatieri.
Vinatieri, thank you, Brian. And he put on a show in warm-ups that one day Tennessee played Memphis that one year. Oh, God. I've never seen a guy kick a ball like that. I mean, he was hammering the ball in warm-ups. It just made a different sound coming off his feet. Guys, it's been fun. Thank y'all.
See ya.
Love.
Have a good night, guys.
Love.
God bless.
Love. And Matt, I'll check on Luttrell. I'll also check on the back of my eyes. I want to think. Oh, man, you shouldn't yawn in front of people, it's bad form. I'm yawning and slobbering. Thank you to Marcos Garza, the Garza Law Firm. Online at garzalaw.com. My friends at T3 Vodka score a T3 TD every time. VIP play where everybody gets treated like a VIP. Waterside Contracting. Shout out to them as well. Waterside Contracting, LLC.com. Walker's Painting, when it's time for a fresh coat. Walk, don't run, the Walker's Painting. Run, don't walk, easy for me to say. Calhoun's, the taste of Tennessee. TLD Logistics online at tldlogistics.com. Connexial, shout out to Connexial. Josh Collins and my Collins Insurance Agency online at collinsinsurance.com, home of Erie Insurance, among others. But they will take incredible care of you like they have the Rainier Studio. Alumni Hall, the absolute best place for Tennessee fans to shop. WeShipFloors.com. WeShipFloors.com. Millions and millions of square feet in stock. 120 Supercore floors to choose from. Performance Medicine online at performancemedicine.net. Dos Equis. Go for dose. Grab a dose. Go for dose. Hope you have a great day. God bless. G to the B to the O. And we'll get there. We'll get over this and we'll get there. Appreciate you. Peace. Those of you that missed any portion of tonight's show, it's coming right back at you. It's going to be right in your ear. I promise you. Just like that. It's coming right back at you. We love you. We appreciate you. Hope you have a great night and a good morning and all that good stuff. And we'll get there. But that was a really kind of a brutal game to sit through, wasn't it? Especially when you lose to a quarterback that kind of can't play. Which that guy kind of can't play. No offense to him. I didn't do it. But he's kind of a guy that can't play. All right, here we go. Jeez Louise, man.
Big Orange fans, you played every snap. You showed your orange. But you're just getting started because it's time for the best post-game fan show in college football. It's time for the Garza Law Firm fifth quarter fan reaction. The place where the Big Orange universe from all around the world gathers to talk about today's game. Unfiltered, uncensored, and unapologetic. And did we mention commercial free? A show of you, by you, and yep, for you.
Yes! Yes!
The most unique fan experience in sports. And it happens right now.
Tony Basilio and you as we're live on your Garza Law fifth quarter fan reaction. Welcome in. Tennessee loses 33-27 to an Oklahoma team that goes on the road and gets their first win against a ranked team in 6 football seasons. They're not hard, they're not easy to get.